teaching a push press and everyone's doing this with the torso, you probably taught it wrong.
For as good as an athlete he is, he's a humble bloke as well. Like, he's a nice guy. You would never guess from meeting him how good of an athlete he is, which is, you know, if you want to be a good coach, you have to be humble in understanding that you're probably not the finished article yet. It's quite refreshing to see someone so like laid back and relaxed. It's not the most comfortable experience when you're coaching in front of other coaches and being told that, okay, you're very good here, but this needs a little bit of work. So it's cool to see how he can just walk into the room and has no problem with taking on feedback, but also like being pretty good at improving on that feedback as well in a short space of time.
The common movement themes exist to give us like a blueprint of which we can evaluate movement from. Harry, tell the group why you picked Tom.
I picked Tom because, like, as soon as he goes into his dip, his torso leans forward.
Yeah, yep. And then what does that have a knock-on effect to? The press.
Try and dip your weight straight down in between your feet and then press up to see what that looks like.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Happier with the torso, right? Much better, okay? So that speed, you can relax, so will have so much knock-on effect, right?
Yeah. I want you to finish extending your hips first, then press. If you've done like your level 1 or something before, it like re-jogs your memory a lot of it. It actually encourages me after this weekend to go into, let's say, those movements that we were going through, in ways of breaking down every single movement. It like really inspires me to go back and have a look at that. So I'm actually quite excited already to dive into things as soon as this weekend's finished.
Realistically, there are no silly questions, and most people in this space all have the same drive and want to serve the community.
Education drives people back to the affiliates and makes the affiliates better through further education. And the games is born from the affiliates. Without the affiliates, you don't have any education, you don't have any games either. So it's one of the most important factors in CrossFit. So it's cool to see a games athlete that's able to put their chips in both camps, if you like. Yes, he's a high level athlete, but he's also humble enough to come back on the level 2 and be told that he's good at some stuff, but then also needs some work on other stuff.
Even the best of the best athletes will have movement efficiency things that can always be tweaked to the next level. As a red shirt, it's just our job to meet each individual where they're at and move the needle in the right direction, essentially.
Ready, start with straight legs, squeeze your quads, squeeze your bum.
Lots of these seminar staff members have been CrossFit affiliate owners for years and years and years and have taught multiple classes like constantly.
We're lucky enough to have a seminar staff, Joe Pearson, coaching us at the gym already. He's just like showing me the way, like really hones in on the little tiny details.
These athletes understand that they need to move, they need a little bit further by everything they could possibly do, and they trust in people who have huge amounts of knowledge and capabilities to ensure their movement patterns are correct.
The reason that I coach Harry, or that it works, is we share a lot of similar values and mindset and approaches. I think he's very aware that CrossFit, competitive CrossFit, although he wants to make it his career, it's not going to be a forever thing, and he prides himself on his coaching. It's what he did before he was an athlete, and it's likely what he'll continue to do afterwards. I know he has a lot of passion for coaching.
Under shoulder width for me, all right, team, and now we're going to carry on. Okay, get yourself ready. Good, and stand. Piper, really press up for me when you can. When you can, I need you to. There's no if. Ready? Squeeze your bum for me. Yes, that's what I'm liking to see. Okay, ready? Go!
I think the energy is really cool, the presence and attitude is really cool. It's just the subtleties now of controlling the group a little bit better with your static, dynamic, static, and then actually seeing change.
I told you I'd get a sweat on it. How visible is it? Is it obvious?
Why is that?
Nerves. I think maybe I'm not as confident anymore because I don't do it as much. It makes you think, Christ, like, what could it be like if I did a little bit more? So yeah, definitely. But I don't think I could pack in being an athlete anytime soon.
It's just not an easy thing to do, is it? It's really not an easy thing to do to put yourself in front of people and actually coach them, despite the fact whether you're a games athlete or not. It's just a really uncomfortable situation to be in. You could potentially argue that it's more so for him I think that, you know, walking the walk like everybody else does and doing so, and actually, you know, putting himself into uncomfortable positions to coach other people and whatnot can really help that come along and develop that camaraderie.
Like you said, that grassroots level, that's where I started and how I've progressed on to where I am today, and I'm not going to lose touch with that. My incentive over the years is to give back in however many years' time when my athletic career finishes. Being out of the picture and out of the frame for an amount of time and then trying to get back into it isn't going to help. If you want to become a better coach, I think this is the right progression.
For the first time inside the SAP Center, welcome to the 2026 CrossFit Games, presented by Air National Guard. Getting set for the team competition here inside the SAP Center. My name is Joel Godet, alongside our team's veteran, Jamie Hagia. Glad to have you along with us. Jamie, the teams had one event already this morning. They had two yesterday. How do the legs feel on the quick turnaround?
I think that they are going to be a little tight, a little destroyed. Hopefully they jumped in an ice bath, they've recovered, got some good sleep, rolled out, ready to go today.
Out on Barack Obama Boulevard last night, it was really cool to be a part of the block party, quite literally pushing a Bob on Bob.
Bob on Bob was a 280-foot push, 140 feet down at 140 feet back, and this Camp Rhino had a great showing, but in the end, it was Team Solidarity who took the win with the fastest time of 1 minute and 9 seconds. And then they had another event after that, so their legs were destroyed. They were on the floor after that. Luckily, they didn't have to use them. They flipped upside down. It was a 200-yard handstand walk down at Barack Obama Boulevard, broken up in sections of 40, 60, 40, 60. And you know what? It was home front Ruben that took the win on that one. Then we had a run this morning. Nothing like starting your morning out with a 5K the hard way. It was broken up in teams of 2 males and 2 females. And it was, in the end, it was home front Ruben again.
Home front with a 17th in the first event, and then wins and wins, and because of that, vaults all the way up into 4th, 220 points. You've got CrossFit Mayhem as your overall leader, though. Not to be unexpected. CrossFit 1124, we see Solidarity in 12th after that first event victory, trying to climb their way back up as we come inside the SAP Center. The Worm, part of team competition. It is maybe the most iconic part of team competition. It looked a little bit different back in the day. Jamie, what's it like to work with the Worm as a team?
This Worm absolutely needs 100% communication. You need to work together. You need to stay together. You need to be making sure that everyone is doing their part on this implement. Started
quite literally as wood and rope. We had the Earthworm, which was the sandbags and rope in 2024. And of course, 555 pounds with the 6-person teams back in 2017. All right, schedule for today, because we got a lot of it. Starting with event number 4 for the teams, we are going to be here local time until after 9 p.m. tonight of almost non-stop action.
What a fun day, and a great way to kick off our Friday.
Inside the SAP Center for the 2026 CrossFit Games, presented by Air National Guard. It is team event number 4, and the first time competing inside the venue that once hosted the CrossFit Invitational, the home of the San Jose Sharks. Alongside Jamie Hagia, the CrossFit Games team's veteran, my name is Joel Godet. Standings through 3 events, 2 last night, 1 this morning, CrossFit Mayhem. Not unsurprisingly, in first place, last year's champions, Oslo Krieger, currently in second. CrossFit Whip, which is last year's CrossFit Mayhem team that finished in second, is in third at the moment. Solidarity CrossFit had a victory in event number 1 out on Barack Obama Boulevard yesterday. Team from Charlottesville, Virginia, currently sitting in 12th. Q21 looking for the best finish by a Latin American team ever. That is 14th. And through 3 events, that is where Q21 is sitting. All right, our event. We've got a whole bunch of fun implements because that's a snail.
It is, and so what these teams will do in a male and female pair, they're going to do a 100-foot snail push, going into 40 synchro cleans, 12 rope climbs, 40 synchro toes to bar. They're going to tag their partners, and their partners are going to come back in reverse order with those toes to bar, rope climbs, cleans, and finishing with the snail.
Time cap of 16 minutes, 204 total repetitions in this event, 102 per athlete. Our mission brief presented by Air National Guard.
It is all about that rope. So this is going to be the only individual part of this event. You're going to have to, there is no rules. You can have anyone go in any order, has as many rope climbs as they like. So have your better teammate hit some more rope climbs than the other.
20 teams, 10 of them in each heat. We mentioned CrossFit Solidarity with that event 1 win. They are in the middle of your screen in lane 5 with CrossFit 1124, a top 10 team of a year ago. And we are underway with this snail push, that rogue snail. First time the athletes are touching it is right now. There are only 10. They are on the floor.
That's right, and we see some are already getting a little bit of a lead, but they're just moving that with their feet, quick little pushes, and some of them are trying to figure this out for the first time.
400-pound implement. How much does it maybe mimic a sled push?
Oh, there's sand in the bottom of that, so it's going to make it really hard to get a good momentum on that push. But we already do have 1124 that did push that across and onto their cleans.
Exceptionally strong team. You see Tyler Cook in the foreground, Jess Androsik, the one they affectionately call the meat nugget, is lifting the 95-pound bar for the women.
I love that. I had a chance to talk to her, and she said after last year she was given that nickname, and she just embraced it and went with it.
11:24 returning both Tyler Cook and Jess Androsik. Hannah Hardy is returning on the far side of your screen, this time as the captain for this Solidarity team. She put this team together. She's been on a bunch of games teams before, finished 5th last year with CrossFit Francos, and was able to kind of sit down and say, all right, here's who I've come across throughout my career, people that she's met in her time at UVA when she lived in Charlottesville, to build this team. And then Butcher's Lab, Jamie, they need to have a great event. 4th last year, currently in 18th.
And when you have that experience from last year, you know what you're coming into, you know how you guys work together, you know what you have to do. And it is only day 2, so you know what, they do have time and room to make up some points.
This goes snail into the synchronized cleans. You must both be locked out at the top at the same time before you move on to the next rep. Then the 12 rope climbs, then the toes to bar. 40 of those synchronized before you tag out and your 2 teammates move in reverse.
This is the first time we are seeing any synchro work here at the games for these teams, and you know what, they are coming down to single power cleans. It is a short bar. There are a couple teams going touch and go reps. You just have to make sure you stand all the way up, get your elbows through, wait for your partner at the top.
How underrated is the communication aspect of it, and how impressive is the fact that you might be able to go touch and go if you're a really good communicator?
You know, if you have been practicing and syncing these up, they're facing each other, so that's really great. They get to visually see where they're at, how long they have to hold this for. They're going to do a slight pause at the top. Although you do want to go fast, you want to make sure you get credit for that rep.
Almost 3 minutes in here to these 40 synchronized cleans. 135 for the men, 95 for the women. Jess Androsik is climbing the 16.5-foot rope climb. You must touch the metal at the top It's essentially like climbing a giraffe, is what that equates to.
And so some of these teams are opting to go with their females first, some are going with their males, so that kind of shows you who is the best puller, the best rope climber out of those pairs.
7th online to qualify, competed in the Syndicate Crown, came in 6th at that semifinal, where the top 3 teams got tickets. Talking CrossFit 1124. Jamie, how would you break up these rope climbs? Are you going 6 and 6? Are you divvying it up a little bit differently?
I think you have to think about what's coming next. For these athletes, they're going to be going straight to the toes to bar. So if that's not really a strength, you want to preserve as much forearm grip strength. Your forearms are going to be blowing up for those cleans, going straight to the rope, and then to the toes to bar. So making sure that that better, stronger rope climber is taking a little bit more. I'd say 2 or 3 at a time, maybe 2 to 1 would be nice.
54 is the lead right now with Butcher's Lab, Snake out of Australia, and CrossFit 1124. 204 total repetitions in this 4th event for the teams. Tyler Cook with the tap of the top of the Zeus rig, switching back out for Jess Androsik, 1 at a time for 1124.
You're seeing they're getting that foot clamp, right? So they're going to make sure that they wrap that rope. They're going to get their foot that's going to be on top of the other foot, kind of creating a little step stool for them to stand and use their legs to save a little bit of their arms on these rope climbs.
If you're in your CrossFit affiliated home, they might teach you to J-hook, so you throw the rope back over your foot. Probably not going to see the athletes do that for a time thing here.
Yeah, I think they want to, try to get that as quickly as they can. They're going to pull their knees up high to their chest, almost like a toe to bar. They're leaning back, which is interesting because they're going to go straight to toes to bar. But the higher you can get your feet up, the less you have to pull. That's going to be a lot more on your legs. Some of these shorter athletes, it is a little bit tougher for.
No rules on how you come down. There was a crash pad, and Tyler Cook went about 8 feet down a fireman's pole there. .40 synchronized toes to bar await these athletes next.
You'll notice they get a big jump. I know that crash pad is a little bit soft, but if you can get a high jump into that, reach up a little bit higher, that will cut down your rope climbs a little bit on those 16.5, 16.6 foot rope climbs.
This is Butcher's Lab, taking over as your leader. Again, finished 4th at these games last year and returning 75% of their team. Thomas Stroyer, Pernilla Christensen, and Christina Egerbach were all on last year's team. They are now onto the toes to bar. They added Felix Rader this year, who in 2021 was the fittest man in Germany, competed on teams out of CrossFit Oslo, was actually the alternate for the podium Oslo team in 2023. So you would think they feel really good about themselves. A lot of work to do on Saturday.
Yeah, and again, like you saw 1124 come out, and they were the first ones to push that snail across, but it's not always the first person to finish the first implement to get through these 4 movements, to get to the end of that and switch out your partners. But they have a lot of experience coming into this, especially from last year.
Jamie, what goes into synchronizing toes to bar?
And it does depend on your heights, right? So that does play a little bit. But this nice long kipping swing, look at they're sinking up here, taking a break, right? 40 is... It is quite a bit, and it will add up, especially at the end of this for these pairs. So what you have to think about doing is staying relaxed, breathing, getting that nice long. You'll see they're open, right? They're kipping motion to get their toes up to that bar. Just making sure that their toes touch at the top together.
Butcher's Lab still leading the way here, looking to release their second pair and work their way back down from whence they came. And 102 reps are in the books, and now 40 more toes to bar for Butcher's Lab. And you can see the toll that this took on Christina Egerbach, one of the OGs of CrossFit in Denmark.
You can see on their faces there, right? It is tough. This is the end of their work in this event here for them. They have to try to stay nice and relaxed. Your facial expressions actually do make a big difference, trying to keep that nice and relaxed.
It is Pernilla Christensen and Felix Rader, the newcomer, going to work for Butcher's Lab here. Rader actually is from Heidelberg in Germany. He commutes. It is not a short trip sometimes, but he competed on a Butcher's Lab Flake team in 2024.
it's always a little interesting. If you close your eyes for a moment to relax, you're really depending on your other partner to sync up with you and you're just going at your own pace.
How much of that is feel? Like, hey, people work out a lot together. I just know you.
Oh, absolutely. You know if this is a strength or a weakness or how many you should be communicating, hey, I have about 5 more left in me, or hey, I need to come down, one more, so you don't get a no rep. But definitely knowing your teammates, knowing where their limits are is going to be a big, huge advantage here.
Christensen on the left, Rader on the right. Butcher's Lab advancing onward back to 12 more rope climbs in any order and in any number. Rader could do all 12 if he wants to here.
He could, and you're thinking about, again, that grip that's going to go into the power cleans next. But it looks like they're going to go a 1-to-1 switch. We'll see if they keep that or if they're able to take on a couple more at a time. Maybe it's a little bit smarter if they're about even in those rope climbs. Maybe they just go 1-to-1.
Time cap shouldn't be an issue. We are more than halfway there. 16 minutes.
And they just did 40 synchro toes to bar. So what you have to think about doing is preserving that pull, right? So same thing, you want to make sure you're bringing your knees up high, toes up as high as you can, pull yourself close into that rope and stand up and use your legs.
.11:24 Body Blueprint are the two teams on the right side of your screen. Butcher's Lab, your leader on the left. These are the first 10 of 20 teams that have qualified for the CrossFit Games here in 2026. The 20th iteration of the CrossFit Games, the 17th time that teams have competed. There were no teams in 2007 or 2008. And of course 2020, the COVID impacted year.
So Rebecca Voigt-Miller has competed at 18 CrossFit Games. She has done more as an individual than there have been team events.
Yes, Rebecca Voigt-Miller has been at the CrossFit Games for more times than teams have.
Congratulations to her for winning the Masters as well.
16-minute time cap here. You know, I said a minute ago that I thought the time cap might not be an issue. I'm starting to question myself.
I think they'll be okay. You got to really, we talked about these rope climbs, staying nice and controlled, right? Breathing, coming off of that, getting a nice cadence, being ready to go. You're going to get a short rest while they're up there. Chalk up, get ready to go.
And okay, so the first double I think we've seen in a while. That's Emma Harvang for 11:24, competing in the pink on the left side of your screen. And on to the synchro cleans for your leaders in this heat right now. Christensen and Rader for Butcher's Lab out of Copenhagen.
And straight out the gates, they're going singles from the start. So their shoulders, their biceps, their forearms are a little fried from those toes to bar, the rope climbs. And so now they're going to get set, use their legs, big drive up, quick pull to the top, pull yourself under, flash your elbows through, sink up there before you drop that.
After the cleans, 40 of them, back onto another 100-foot snail push. Butcher's Lab is an OG affiliate. It's in the meatpacking district of Copenhagen, a really cool gym if you ever get the chance to travel there. And it's tempting because there are several bakeries right around the area. Here is CrossFit Aylesbury making a return trip to the games. Something that they have wanted to do since 2021 when they were here last. The same women are on this team, Charlotte Spence and Maddie Harris. They've recruited. You're looking at Jack Turner and Sam Dell, coming so close several times at 22, 23, 24, and 25. Maddie Harris is one of the owners of the gym she learned how to do CrossFit at. She now owns it and is competing at the CrossFit Games.
That's amazing, and you love to hear stories like that. These athletes absolutely fall in love with the community, the sport, and just being around good-hearted people that love to work hard and push their fitness limits.
We are 3 minutes to the cap. Now, the snail was not a huge hurdle for teams on the way in, but on the way out, we'll see if it slows some people down as the clock starts to loom.
And 40 single cleans at a time. You know when you're going touch and go, you get 3, you get 5, you knock these out in sets. 40 singles is gonna take a toll on you, especially when towards the end.
11:24 on the right, Butcher's Lab on the left. At what point as an athlete does the number start to feel smaller? Like you're like 40, okay, that's a lot. 35, still a lot.
Right, you hit that halfway mark at the 20, you're thinking, okay, hang in there. You get to that 30, that home stretch, we gotta push. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. And
here comes Butcher's Lab. They are the first to the snail. Everybody has made it to the cleans with the exception of CrossFit Hendersonville. Looks like Butcher's Lab is going to throw down the gauntlet here and create the time to beat.
you saw their initial push. Their hands were a little higher on that snail, so now they're getting down a little bit lower, trying to get their center of gravity lower on that snail to help push. Try to create any momentum you can, but that sand does create a little bit of a, makes it a little bit tough for them.
The sand is different. Like it rolls, so the weight is always at the bottom.
At the bottom, right. It usually implements, you get it going and you can get it moving, right? Like a nice sled push, but this is just a beast of its own. But they are almost there.
Third year we have seen the snail in a team competition. It used to be in an event called the Beasts of Burden. It is a beast to move, and Butcher's Lab does it successfully in 14:45. This is a race against the test now for a lot of these teams. Can you get yourself into the second heat heading into the weekend? It's like something out of a horror movie with all the chalk handprints as the snail is pushed. The two newcomers for 11:24 to this year's team, Brandon Smith, Emma Harving, pushing to the finish line. Both making their CrossFit Games debuts. And 11:24 finishes in 15:36. Snails be a moving though. 15 seconds left to go. Joe Piero, Christine Best moving for Body Blueprint at the top of your screen. Snake CrossFit also trying to get there. You get a rep for every 10-foot section here. And that's big for Body Blueprint to get over. I don't think Snake did. So they won't get credit for that very last section. Butcher's Lab, though, has your heat win in 14:45.
We started out with that snail push. Our teams made it all the way down, 100 feet down the floor. It was 11:24 that got to the cleans first, so they started out on those 40 synchro cleans, but it was Butcher's Lab that took the lead after that on their synchro toes to bar, heading to their rope climbs. They alternated back and forth there on those rope climbs until they got back to their 40 synchro power cleans. Most of them were singles, nice and smooth and steady all the way through, and then they finished that out with that snail push, the first ones to finish this event in their heat and for the day so far.
18th overall, 4th last year, looking for some movement. And it is Butcher's Lab, 11:24, and then Snake. And they did not get credit for that last section, just one rep ahead of Body Blueprint, who's also looking to make a move, had a really good performance with a top 10 finish in the 5K this morning. SAP Center, San Jose, California, the Air National Guard presenting the 2026 CrossFit Games. Alongside Jamie Hagia, CrossFit Games teams veteran. My name is Joel Godet. The rest of our crew, happy to have you with us in California this weekend for the 20th CrossFit Games. 17th time the Affiliate Cup has been contested. CrossFit Mayhem's won the thing a few times. Rich Froning did his thing. They're in first place right now with 260 points. You get 10 points between first and second, so comfort over Oslo Krieger and CrossFit Whip, but certainly not unsurmountable. Let's take a look at the event. Number 4 for the teams, and we got the snail.
It is. This implement is going to make a huge difference. It's going to be the start of the race. So you're going to have male and female pairs pushing down that snail 100 feet down the competition floor. They're going to hit 40 synchro cleans into 12 rope climbs, 40 synchro toes to bar. They're going to tag out their partners. Their other male-female pair will go in reverse order, starting on those toes to bar, rope climbs, power cleans, and finishing it out with that snail push.
All right, pilot, what's our mission brief brought to us by Air National Guard?
It is all about that rope. So how you're going to break that up, that is the only individual part on this event. You want to make sure that your forearms, you're hitting a lot of your forearms in your cleans and rope climbs and toes to bar, so making sure you break that up however you need to between the pairs.
CrossFit Mayhem, your overall leader. Team made up of 2 women that were in 3rd place at the end of last year's CrossFit Games. Stevie Dellinger and Caroline Klutz. They're in lane 6, joined by Jack Rosema and Taylor Balaz, the defending champions in lane 5. Camp Rhino had a really good day yesterday. They were your overall leader after 2 events. They're in lane 8. All eyes in the middle of the floor. That's where your leaders are, but it's also where your defending champions are. You got CrossFit Oslo Krieger. And Kristen Holta, who is competing in her 10th CrossFit Games, told us it is harder to win the second than it is the first.
Absolutely. You have a huge target on your back, and everyone is going to come after you, like as the champions, coming out bringing their best performance.
Including this Mayhem team. You see former individual competitor Jack Rosema and Caroline Klutz, the defending champion coming into the year in the 35 to 39 Masters bracket. So the bad thing about the 20th anniversary, she couldn't do teams and Masters this year like she did last year.
That's right. So you see the technique right away, right? Fast hands, fast feet. You want to get this thing moving. They weren't able to practice before, but they are getting this thing moving across this floor.
Oslo way out in front. Tolmer Akinyo looks like he is pushing something that weighs 3 pounds.
He is one of the strongest competitors in all of the CrossFit Games.
You get 10 reps for moving the snail. There's 204 reps total in this event. Kristen Holta on the left for Oslo, looking right into the eyes of Tolmer Akinyo, and they go touch and go for the first 5. What's that tell you?
That means that they feel comfortable here, right? This is only the second part of this event, so they are fresh. That snail push didn't take too much out of them, so they're able to knock out a few reps, touch and go in the beginning.
1 minute in. They train together too. People have to remember, teams isn't just about the best 4 people. It's about the best team.
It really makes a huge difference when you are in training together, suffering through these events and through these workouts every single day. You really get to know your partners and your teammates in and out, how they move, when they get tired, how much more they have left in the tank. Really great big advantage for anyone who gets to train all together.
Nice colorways on those sneakers too. They're brought to us by Fittest, the official apparel, footwear, and jump rope partner of the 2026 CrossFit Games. You can shop performance gear built for elite athletes at FitestSport.com. 135 pounds for Tolmer Akinyo is nothing on a barbell.
You see Kristen giving him a little bit of communication, saying like, how do you think we're good? Okay, can we go a couple more? So they're still going touch and go sets later in these later reps to the 40.
Being pushed by Camp Rhino. Allison Scuds in the distance. Her partner, Raf Catalano, in the foreground. It's Scuds' first appearance at the CrossFit Games. Back to Oslo. Akinyo winning his first title. He is a veteran of team competition, be it with Back Bay or Peak 360 or East Nashville Proven or in Iceland, CrossFit Reykjavik in 2022. Finally found that home. He's grown immensely as an athlete under the Krieger training program.
And what's so great is when you get to train with so many different athletes with different strengths and different weaknesses, that's really going to bring out the best in you. And Tola clearly is proving that.
It is Mayhem, your overall leaders, who are now your leaders in the event. They get done with the 40 synchronized cleans first. And the Masters champion, Caroline Klutz, making her way to the top of this 16.5-foot rope climb.
Shout out to the Masters athletes out there. To all of them that just competed and finished their weekend.
And to the Masters athletes that compete and sometimes qualify for the individual semifinals by accident.
That did happen. That was 2024 for me. I don't know how, but it did.
Molly McGrandy for CrossFit Whip, tagging out to Angelo DiCicco. This is the team in orange, center of your screen, that competed last couple of years, as CrossFit Mayhem. They thought they were done at the end of last year. We actually said on the broadcast, this is the last time this team will compete together in this iteration. Angelo DiCicco thought about it. He had to get some work done on his knee, and he turned to Molly McGrandy at one point and said, "Can I tell you a secret? I'd do it again." So they are competing out of CrossFit Whip, Molly McGrandy's affiliate in Michigan.
It's hard to leave, you know. Your body's still feeling good. You kind of just take it one day at a time. Your training feels good. You get with a great team, an opportunity. Hard to turn down.
They never retired in CrossFit.
Very true.
DiCicco's got a firefighting past, by the way, so watch this descent. Looks like he's getting a call. CrossFit Whip is your leader.
So smooth, and he is doing doubles. So we talked about this rope being the only part of it that's individualized, and you can break this up however you'd like. So you want to have your best puller, your best rope climber. If they can handle a little bit more, maybe they go 2 to 1.
And that's what they're doing. Randy does 1 and switches back out to DiCicco.
You also have to think about they have 40 synchro toes to bar right after this, so their grip is going to play a factor. How comfortable and how good you feel on your toes to bar between your pairs. That's going to determine also who takes as many rope climbs here.
60 repetitions in, 102 reps for this first pair of athletes. They'll then tag out their partners. They'll have 102 reps. The time to beat is 14 minutes and 45 seconds. That's Butcher's Lab Pursuit from our opening heat. And it is on to the toes to bar for DiCicco and McGrandy. And actually a host of teams. Mayhem right beside them. So the two Mayhem teams battling it out.
You'll notice that Mayhem has a little bit faster cadence, right? They're going to be getting back to that hollow and the arch positions really quickly, snapping down, and it also depends on when you're going to take breaks in this set of 40.
Jamie, you've run an affiliate, been a coach for a long time. How do you coach people to speed up toes to bar? This is a competitive setting. If you're just in your gym, is it worth the squeeze to try to speed up your toes to bar?
In this scenario, it'd be advantageous to speed them up because they are done after this. They're going to tag out their partners, and they are done for this event. So you can speed them up by getting a little bit of a kick, bringing your knees up to your chest versus staying nice and long and smooth and controlled. You can kind of do a little flick at the top kick to get a quicker cadence on those toes to bar.
And you tag out to your teammates that are just starting, maybe take it a little smoother?
Yeah, I mean, it's the very beginning. You have a lot of grip, strength, and fatigue here that's going to build up, so.
Jack Rosema checking in with Caroline Klutz. Make sure that grip strength is still there here at the end.
Really important. You have to make sure you're syncing up, your toes are touching the top at the same time.
102 reps in the bag for Mayhem. They jump ahead of Whip. Tanner Balazs and Stevie Dellinger, who finished 3rd at the games last year with CrossFit Camel City, with Caroline Klutz, as a matter of fact, as her teammate. You know, we spoke to Caroline, and she said, listen, there is a lot of pressure. This is a great opportunity. This is CrossFit Mayhem, 6-time champions under the Mayhem Freedom banner with Rich Froning. To be able to be the Mayhem team, there's pressure, and you're competing against last year's Mayhem team, so they want to come out and hit some home runs.
You wear that name across your chest and you automatically have a target. Even though they weren't the champions, the reigning champions, you wear that Mayhem proudly and know that you were in the mix for that podium in first place.
And Mayhem did beat Whip head-to-head in semifinals already. So Caroline said, hey, we know they're beatable. Now we just got to go do it in the biggest stage. Esteban Ospina and Lena Richter on the right side of your screen in that last shot from Camp Rhino, who were your day one leaders. Stevie Dellinger on her 16.5-foot ascent, first of 12 for Mayhem. And a break for the married couple, Sam and Zoe DeMeester.
I love that. I love to see that. There's a couple married couples out here.
14:45 from Butcher's Lab Pursuit. Tanner tagging back out for Stevie Dellinger.
Really getting your feet set, right? That J hook on that rope. You want to make sure it's tight. You're going to wrap your foot around. But if you miss that at all, right, that rope's going to slide down. It's going to cost you a little bit of time to give teams other chances to catch up to you.
How many kips, so to speak, are we thinking to be efficient on a rope for 16.5 feet?
3. I think we talked about these crash pads are a little bit soft, right? So you don't get the highest jump off of there. If you can, that would help out a ton. But really leaning back, getting those toes up as high as you can, almost like in a toe-to-bar position to bring yourself close to the rope and standing up and using your legs, because their arms are, you got to save those for the cleans as well.
Yeah, less of a pull, more of a stand.
Yeah, I think the mistake a lot of people make is they use their biceps only in their arms, but really in these legs, when you get to use your legs in the rope climbs, you want to make sure you're maximizing that, getting a good hook around that rope with your feet, clamping down on that, bringing your chest and body close to that rope and using your legs to stand up.
Still 40 synchro cleans, and then 10-foot segments of the snail push to come. 14:45 and change is the time to beat from heat 1.
Like we talked about, all about these ropes. You can make up time in these rope climbs.
Not only make up time, I think more importantly, you can really lose time in the rope climbs.
As us normal people see in affiliates. We just stand there and stare at the rope.
Are you working out? Yeah, just give me time. Here comes Balaz and Dellinger. Tanner's from Indiana, trains out of CrossFit Westfield usually, where James East is the owner. He is a big Mayhem guy. Brother of Andrew East, husband of Sean Johnson. So Tanner Balaz is friend-in-laws with Olympic gold medalist.
Well, that's cool. It's a nice little barbecue on the weekends and hang out with him. I wonder if she gave him any tips for any gymnastics this week.
Best muscle-ups or pull-ups or anything you can, rope climbs.
Yes.
40 synchronized. You would hope the DeMeesters are really in sync here.
And again, that cycle rate, that cycle speed, how fast you're getting back to your barbell after you drop that on these singles. Making sure that you take that extra time to flash your elbows through, open up your hips and your knees, standing all the way up to make sure that rep counts.
Now here comes Oslo. That's Björn Carl Gudmundsson, one of the most veteran men's athletes in CrossFit, individually competing on a team for the first time this year. BKG, center your screen. But Oslo is chasing, and they're going to be behind at the end of day 2. There is still one more event to come.
I think they recognize that. I think they know. I think they preserved enough in the tank to be able to go touch and go. A lot of these teams out here, the first ones to the barbell, we're doing singles from the start, but you can make up ground and time going touch and go as you see them doing.
Are they going faster? We're talking Oslo on the left, by doing fast touch and goes with bigger breaks? Or are they going faster by doing quick singles like you see from the Mayhem?
And that's a preference. I like to go big sets, take a break, but sometimes my break becomes too long, but you see them, they put it down, catch their breath, set up back on the barbell. They know they can't take too much time in between these sets.
Time to beat 14:45. It's about 2 minutes away. Snail push still to come, 100 feet. It's a little bit longer than a regulation basketball court. By the way, shouts to 76ers fans. Congrats on LeBron James.
I didn't know the news. Wow.
You heard it here first. Mayhem back to the snail. And that's interesting to see the switch there. I was just about to say we haven't seen teams really have issues keeping these snails in line, but now Mayhem struggling a little bit.
Like we talked about, they did not, they are getting off track. They did not have time to practice this before this event.
This is a 103-foot snail push. On their heels, here comes Whip. Mayhem trying to fend off Ghosts of Mayhem past. Time to beat is 14:45. The threat right now, though, isn't from Heat 1, it's from the rearview mirror. Balaz keeps checking that rearview mirror. It will be close at the line, but Mayhem is going to hold on. Whip runs out of gas a little bit at the finish, and Mayhem in 13:53 wins event 4. Whip right behind. Time to beat from the first heat, still off in the distance. So you're looking at your leaderboard as these teams come through. And BKG and Udo Lundekvam from Oslo with kind of a jolly jaunt to the finish line there in third. Södervatten, Southwater from Sweden comes in fourth. They've had a good day today. Made up some ground in the 5K the hard way this morning. And now here's Ospina and Richter for Camp Rhino CrossFit. And they do just get in ahead of Butcher's Lab. So now we're getting some first heat times that will factor in. But your finishers here in Heat 2 so far are your leaderboard order. You've got Kiamaya and Asker on your screen right now. The Aussies and the Norwegians. And it is Asker Krieger that will finish. That's another team out of Oslo competing under the CrossFit Asker banner. And then Kiamaya. Only 100% rookie team competing at these CrossFit Games. Nobody on their roster has been to a CrossFit Games before. We've got 30 seconds before the cap. And at the top of your screen, Reykjavik, with a former teenage athlete at the Games on the roster and 3 rookies. They'll push across and get in underneath the cap. Fort Vancouver is still stuck back on the cleans with 5 seconds left to go.
Oh, so
and
close.
Blueprint, they call it adapt or die. They die just short of the yellow line and get capped. But Mayhem has your win.
Can we go straight?
We started off with this 100-foot snail push. These athletes weren't able to touch this, so this is the first time getting it out on the floor. No problem from them on the way down. They went straight to their 40 synchro cleans. You see Whip had the lead. Rhino really strong on those cleans as well. Then you go straight into those 12 rope climbs where you can divvy those up however you'd like. Whip was in the lead on those rope climbs, but it was Mayhem that actually took over when they made the switch here for those 40 synchro toes to bar, set them up nicely. That second pair was able to get back to those rope climbs, getting her toes nice and high, using her legs, pulling up nice and strong, which is gonna set them up nicely to get back to their 40 power cleans. Here they went singles from the start, nice and smooth the whole way through. We're able to get back to that snail. They had a little trouble staying on course, but at the end they were able to hold off that first place victory and take the win for this event.
Dellinger and Balaz coming in behind Rosema and Klutz, and it is Mayhem that continues to lead. Came in number 1, they depart number 1, and in a half hour's time, they will wear that white leader's jersey, CrossFit Whip. Right behind them, Oslo Krieger I kind of expected those 3 teams to be the top 3 teams, and right now those 3 teams are the top 3 teams. They have come to play. They got another event coming down the pipe, though, in a half hour's time with turnaround. Team event number 5 at the 2026 CrossFit Games.
The 2026 CrossFit Games are presented by Air National Guard. Guard what matters. By Rogue. Don't weaken. Official equipment supplier of CrossFit and the CrossFit Games. By Velites. We are Velites and we are made, not born. And by Sattva, the luxury of restorative sleep.
It all starts with a choice. You don't feel strong. You don't feel ready. Good.
Nice.
You showed up.
Easy. Right.
That's the only starting point. This isn't about perfection.
Here we go.
It's about the fight. Failure? It's not a detour. It's the road that progress demands. We don't ask, are you able? We ask, are you willing? Willing to walk through the door, to turn fears into fuel, to keep showing up again and again. The true test has never been ability. It's willingness.
Welcome back to the 2026 CrossFit Games presented by Air National Guard. SAP Center, San Jose, California. Inside for the first time this week, it's the team competition. Event number 5 alongside former CrossFit Games team competitor Jamie Hagia. My name is Joel Godet. Thanks for joining us to kick off your weekend with the 20th anniversary of the CrossFit Games. Here are the standings after 4 events. The lead has grown ever so slightly by just 5 points for CrossFit Mayhem over last year's CrossFit Mayhem, now CrossFit Whip. The defending champions, Oslo Krieger, are in 3rd. All right, event number 5. This is a repeat, Jamie.
It absolutely is. It is a rowing worm from 2017. It's going to be 3 rounds, 4 time of a 40 cal row for men, 30 cal row for women into 30 worm squats. Those 90 reps are going to add up for them with an 11-minute time cap.
All comes down to 510 repetitions as a team. And the mission brief from Air National Guard is what?
You need to burn the worm. So you got to get on there. You have to be fast. You have to be in sync. We're going to see if these teams are going to go a squat clean from the start. And then it's all for one and one for all. This is 30 minutes after their last event. So these are tired legs after running this morning. There is nowhere to hide, but you have to pick each other up all together.
Lane assignments are the first 10 of our 20 teams. Solidarity CrossFit, middle of the floor in lane 5, was the winner in event number 1 yesterday out on Barack Obama Boulevard. Butcher's Lab won their heat in event number 4 just a few minutes ago. All right, teams to keep an eye on in this opening heat. Well, first and foremost, let's talk about this Blueprint team. Hailing from England, fighting to be the fittest team in England. There are 2 English teams at the CrossFit Games, Blueprint AOD and also Aylesbury. Blueprint in this opening heat. And then Snake CrossFit, this is an interesting team, Jamie, because they have 2 individual games athletes. Georgia Pryor, who came in 29th and 24, Jake Douglas, who was 38th in 23, competing with rookies Maisie Wild and Jacob Marconi, who's been around for a long time with HWPO.
That's right. This will be a fun and exciting race.
Snake team hails from Tamworth, New South Wales in Australia. Jake Marconi actually went there and lived there for 3 months as this team grew, trained, and competed together through the Open and quarterfinals. You see Jake Douglas, no shirt in the back. He is about the sturdiest male athlete in CrossFit.
I saw him in person yesterday, and wow, he is a big, large man who is strong, who is ready to, I'm sure his power output is going to be really high on this, so we'll see how they do on this road.
Big old traps. 40 cals for the men, 30 cals for the ladies. When you're done, you get up off your rower, you will put your hand on the flywheel and wait for the rest of your teammates to finish their row. All right, let's take a look at the monitor here, what we're looking for. Calories an hour, 1450. Usually if you see that in a gym during class, you're going to be like, slow down.
And that's only for a row, not having to do work after that.
What's typical for a row pace? We're talking class, or we're talking just like a competitive setting. 1450 is a good pull.
Oh, that is a monstrous pull. You are... it should be a short number. 40 calories isn't too much for these guys. They probably train this all the time. But you have to think about the culmination of all the work that's going to come after this. Not only are you pushing and driving back using your hamstrings and your glutes here, a little bit of your upper back pulling, but you have to get to that worm and you have to be in sync, stay together, lots of legs there. We'll see that coming up soon.
90 seconds here. Got a 12-minute cap. This is a tight turnaround and a tight window. And it is Solidarity, the first to the worm. Again, the winners in event 1 yesterday, the bob sprint down Barack Obama Boulevard.
I was able to speak to them right after that, their events from yesterday, and Solidarity said they are looking to take this event. They feel very strong about this. So we'll see about their rowing, the power output. Hannah Hardy, they said, wait till you see her on this road.
And advancing for another 10. It's 10, 10, 10. Then you'll put the worm down and go back to round 2 of rowing. So 3 rounds where everybody rows 40 or 30 cals, and then 10, 10, 10 on these worm squats. The worm is 364 pounds, 170, 170 from front to back. And then those spacer segments are 6 pounds. The shell is 7 pounds. Jamie, you've been on teams, you've used the worm. What's it feel like to be under that thing?
I would like to consider myself as a strong squatter and having good legs, but this worm absolutely destroys me. I don't know what it is about it. I'm usually the first female, second sandwich in between these two males, and it just feels so heavy.
In solidarity, back to the rowers. Talk about positioning. How do you determine who goes in the front, who goes in the middle spot that you used to be in?
It does go by height a little. Height plays a little bit of a factor into that, but also the front and the back are a little bit harder to control. So you want to, some of your stronger athletes or more aerobic who have the capacity to handle that are going to take the front and the back, and you might see them switching out throughout.
Round 2 of 3. This event was contested at the 2017 CrossFit Games. Slight difference in that those were teams of 6. 2018 was when things switched to teams of 4. So you can't really compare. The worm was heavier, there were more people involved. But Wasatch CrossFit was the winner in 10:23. Shouts to Adrian Conway. They went on to win the games that year. Timberwolf was second, and then Mayhem, Rich Froning's squad, was third. $11.24 on the right side of your screen, Solidarity in the middle. Both those teams went head-to-head at the Syndicate Crown event. Neither one wound up qualifying. They both advanced to the CrossFit Games for the online semifinals.
There are 6 teams here from the Syndicate, so that was a great showing, a great practice for them to get before the online and then coming here in person in the games. Lots of practice, lots of touches, lots of teamwork and communication going on.
And live competition for a team, the stressors, so much different than being in your gym.
Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, you know that.
I'm just looking at eyes, yeah. Look at Tyler Cook checking on all his teammates. Where are we at?
And like they mentioned, Hannah is a phenomenal rower. She was the first one off. The guys, Riley said, she'll be waiting for us, guys.
Hannah Hardy, the captain, leading the way for Solidarity. It's Connor Duddy's gym in Charlottesville, Virginia. Games athlete. It's Hannah Hardy's 4th appearance at the Games on 4 different teams. She has been a staple over the last several years, and again had her best finish last year, 5th place with Brandon Luckett's Franco's Imam crew.
She said this team really complements each other well because some of them are stronger in gymnastics and those, the makeup and the strength. You saw obviously yesterday the Bob on Bob. They have the strength to push. That power output is absolutely high. So you're looking for strong legs, good lungs here. Keep that worm moving.
Riley Good at the front of the Solidarity worm. Competed on 11:24 last year. Those are the 2 teams on your screen.
How do you think you feel going head-to-head against your old team?
He's looking right at his replacement. Brandon Smith joining the 11:24 squad this year. Final 10 squats of this round for Solidarity. And the worm is advanced. Solidarity is done. We're about halfway, a little bit more than halfway to the time cap, and Solidarity is going to make up some ground here on the transition.
Hannah's running, almost sprinting back to her rower, knowing this is the last round, last effort.
And Riley Good will make it back as well. Hannah Hardy's already off and going. Luke Burns in the back. Recently married. Congrats. June 27th.
Congratulations.
Honey, I got a great idea for a honeymoon. It's called San Jose.
Nice place to be. Great place.
As long as it's followed by San Jose, Costa Rica, then everything in the marriage is fine.
Maybe that's next.
Love being back in California. Awesome to be back here. 20th year of the CrossFit Games. Back close to where it all started on the ranch in Aromas. Matter of fact, on the ranch earlier this week.
You take a look at their facial expressions, their body posture, everything looks pretty relaxed. It's not that they're all out sprinting, it's like pretty effort. They know they have 30 more worm squats after this, so it's a hard effort, but not an all-out effort where you know you're gonna redline. It's not one of those workouts around the board.
Taking a look at Snake, trying to make up some ground. Tough start, 19th in events 1 and 3, 3rd in event 2. So some real potential there for that Australian team with 2 individual games athletes on it. This is like the rowing world championships right now.
It looks really cool. And there we go again. And Hardy, the first one off.
Readjusting that weight belt.
But this is with teams. You're only as strong as your weakest link, and so right now she's off her rower, but she does have to wait for the rest of her teammates to finish up their row, get to that worm, get to work.
Hardy is a chiropractor by trade, just transferred to Miami, has actually been training at Peak 360 with Noah Olsen and Lena Richter. So she's got some pretty good guidance both in CrossFit and in teams CrossFit. And Riley Good getting that push forward from Luke Burns. Former Dartmouth Big Green softball player Logan Thomas is the 4th member of this roster. They're going to get some company. Butcher's Lab. They won the heat in event number 4. Remember, 4th last year, 18th coming inside the SAP Center this morning. You going no hands or hands on the worm? It's making me nervous watching Butcher's Lab up front.
He's good. It's like that front rack position. You don't need your hands on the workout.
Time cap is 12. 2.5 minutes. Teams are going to get time capped here.
What you have to think about is, yes, they're racing everyone in this field, but there's a whole nother heat after this. 10 more teams, so you need to put up the best time to have those comparable to those in the next heat.
And Jamie, that matters because you want to be in the next heat come tomorrow, so you're racing against faster times.
Absolutely.
And done. And officially 9:58 time to beat for Solidarity. Good bounce back for the base camp crew after a 19th and a 16th in events 2 and 3. And an extra, that worm got put down too early for Aylesbury, for Hendersonville. Sorry, Butcher's Lab. I'll learn to count. There's AOD, Blueprint, in 10:34. We got CrossFit affiliates named Blueprint and Body Blueprint. What are the odds they both wind up in the same heat at the CrossFit Games?
That's a little.
I want a 5K run before this.
Oh, ramping already.
Riley Good just said, how about a 5K run?
Little shout out to his family and friends.
And now Hendersonville is done. This is Body Blueprint with 4 reps remaining. Will Carter in the front. Former individual games athlete Christine Best bringing up the back. And they tumble through to finish in 11:16. Aylesbury still out there. Uncontained finishes. Champions of the Rebel Renegade Games in South Africa in 11:27. This is Q21. Become a regular out of the Latin American regional. Their 5th appearance at the CrossFit Games.
God is good. God is good. Let's go.
Well, I said I thought the cap would be a factor. Came close, but everybody does finish in the opening heat. And Solidarity CrossFit out of Charlottesville, Virginia, Wahoo has the time to beat.
This one started out with that 40-calorie row for men, 30-cal row for women. Everyone off to a good start. They make it to their first round of their cleans. They have to be in sync at the bottom and at the top. They're going to advance it every 10. It was Solidarity that took that early lead. They were able to be strong with that worm, move it nice and consistently at a good pace. Back to the rowers for round 2, 2 and 3. You're thinking about staying nice and relaxed because you know you have those squats coming back up. Riley Good in that front, knowing heading into that third round, so this is a final row, they had to save everything they had in the tank because they had 10 more reps at each section, 30 total to finish, a total of 90 reps. They crossed that line with a first place finish.
9:58 for Solidarity is your time to beat. Butcher's Lab had a good day today. Needed a good day, threw down a good day, 10:20. We'll see how that factors in, and then Snake also needed to have a good event. Comes in at 10:25. You are watching the 2026 CrossFit Games from the SAP Center, home of the San Jose Sharks, here in San Jose, California. Jamie Hagia, the CrossFit Games team's veteran. My name is Joel Godet. This is team event number 5, and it's a repeat of 2017's Rowing Worm.
This was a nasty one then. It's still a nasty one to this day. It's going to be 3 rounds for time. The men are going to row 40 calories. The women are going to row 30. Then they have 30 worm squats all together as a team. You're going to advance at every 10, moving that worm forward for 3 rounds and 90 squats total.
Our mission brief is presented by the Air National Guard. What's key?
They gotta burn that worm. So their legs are tired. They ran this morning. They had that sled bob push yesterday. But you know what? You gotta get to that worm. We're gonna see who squat cleans it, who can be nice and controlled, burn that worm, and then all for one and one for all. Their last event was it was 30 minutes ago. So we're gonna see. There's nowhere to hide. You gotta stick together.
Take a look at a Rogue Don't Weaken moment. The official equipment supplier of the CrossFit Games. Shop at roguefitness.com, and it is pushing through on that worm. Better than 360 pounds for CrossFit Solidarity to put up the time to beat at 9:58 in that opening heat. Our final 10 teams are our top 10 teams. Your overall leader is CrossFit Mayhem, CrossFit Whip, right next to him in lane 7, and then the defending champions, Oslo Krieger, is in lane 5. However, in lane 7 is Camp Rhino, and I know you're saying to yourself, this is a repeat. Have any of these athletes done this before? And the answer is yes. Raf Catalano, back corner with the black shirt on, was on the NorCal Redwoods team in 2017. He was Jason Kalipa's replacement on that team. Did this event that year. Team finished 4th overall. And I said to him, Raf, what do you remember? And he said, not good things. Looked at one of his teammates as they got on the rower and was about to die. They shared the same glance back and forth.
Oh no. Yeah, a little PTSD that'll bring up some bad memories from then, but hopefully have better memories after this event.
Tola Maracanio, by the way, also competed in 2017 on the Reebok Back Bay team. So those are the 2 people that have done this before.
I believe that's an advantage. You know what this feels like. Yes, you get to do it in training, but being out here on the competition floor live at the games is a whole nother level that you're taking your fitness to. So they know what it feels like to be out here. They know what it feels like live.
A little bit different. Those were 6-person teams, 555-pound worm, but the test itself was the same. Catalano's NorCal team finished in 11:45 that year. The winner was 10:23, Wasatch CrossFit. They went on to win the games. Oslo on the left. There is Mayhem now with Dellinger and Balaz, who held off the surge to win event 4.
Really grip intensive in the last event. Same thing here on the rower. You are gripping onto this, but you're driving back with your legs. Big drive back. It's legs, back, arms. That last little pull there.
Dellinger and Klutz are up. Whip is also up. Both McGrandy and Zoe DeMeester. We've got some full-on sprints to our first set on the worm. And Rhino at the top of your screen, they squat cleaned it. They got right to work. It's those little things.
And that's going to be who trains together, who has had the most practice on this worm. It might look a little easy, but actually getting underneath it, syncing up that clean from the ground to the shoulders, making sure you're at the bottom together, at the top together, and really trying to communicate without looking at each other.
Camp Rhino, top of the screen when you go to the wide shot, trying to track down Whip here and Mayhem. They qualified for the CrossFit Games out of the Syndicate Crown. They did so by jumping into a podium position in the last event. It involved the worm. They were the only team that was squat cleaning the worm to start things off. It's the little things, it's those small seconds here or there that get you over the finish line.
Oh, if you power clean that up to your shoulders, take a second, make sure everyone's in sync, and then start your squats. You think about that versus squat cleaning it like you're talking about. Those little seconds will add up.
Now Mayhem finished just ahead. Excuse me, Whip finished just ahead. And CrossFit Sodra Watson making it back to the rower as well.
Now, if you take this event and do this one workout for the day at your gym, that's a different story than this being the 5th event. And they had a run this morning, that bob push yesterday. So these are a little bit of tired legs, but definitely if you give this a try in your affiliate, I'd love to see where you stack up against these teams.
CrossFit Sodra Watson has now taken over in first. They've had a good day. Started behind the 8 ball this morning, but had a good run, top 10 finish. Pasture Provisions, grass-fed, pasture-raised meats delivered to your door. Save 20% with the code on the screen. Pasture Provisions, the official meat delivery partner of CrossFit. And you see Sodra Watson in the orange on the right side of your screen. That is Madeline Person's gym. She has the red hair on the left side, but competing with 2 of the OGs in Sweden. Alex Alebro in the back with the fantastic hair is competing at his 8th CrossFit Games. He competed in LA, Jamie.
Oh, love to hear that. And the longevity of it, you know, really proving that this is more than just fitness. This is for our lifestyles, and as we age and be able to do this for a long time.
Harrison is done. First one off the rower, waiting for a teammate to join her for Sodra Watson, and Alebro pops up. In the meantime, Whip making their way to their second grouping of 30 worm squats.
See, they went straight into that squat clean. And their pace for their squats is a pretty fast pace, right? Sometimes you're gonna hang out there at the bar a little bit slower on the descent, but down quick, up quick, that's the best way to get it done. Legs might burn a little bit, but that's the best way to get it done.
Jimmy, we talk about teammates and team. You watch Mayhem in the middle of your screen doing worm squats. They have done a lot of worm squats, and it's evident, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They are communicating. They know when to pick this up. They know they're going to go 10 unbroken. After they get the good sign from the judge, they're going to move that forward and watch. As they get to that front of the box, toes behind that line, just a second. Okay, we're good. Let's start going. 10 quick reps again. They're going to move that forward.
Time to beat 9:58. Another round to go after this. You're looking at the leaderboard. First place in left, second place on the right. Overall. Worm is down. Whip trying to make up ground.
Sprinting back to her rower. Love to see that. Talking to some of these teams, you know, that 40-30 cal row, that 10 cal difference in the middle. Usually it's about a 30-20, you know, an 8 cal difference, but that 10, they said maybe the women are going to finish first and waiting for these guys.
CrossFit Whip. We've said it before. We will continue to say it all weekend. They were last year's Mayhem team. They came in second. They were tied going into the final event. Molly McGrandy said, "We came here to do nothing other than win. That is the goal. We signed up for nothing beyond first."
And that's the attitude you have to come into this weekend. You can't come in here like, oh, I hope we do well. It's that confidence of we deserve that podium and first place spot.
I thought Molly McGrandy was also mature too. She said, listen, last year just wasn't our time. It didn't break our way. That's hard to, I don't want to say hard to admit, but like it's mature to deal with tough defeats in those ways to then come back.
Yes, to know, take a look back, learn from your mistakes, or what went well, what went wrong, you know. Analyze that, come back with a plan attack this year. You notice that all of these athletes are pretty composed, no heavy, like facial expressions or hard breathing. You know, they are pushing. This is a hard effort. But you can only go as fast as your slowest rower. You have to wait for everybody.
It looked for a hot second like Mayhem was like rowing Odysseus home. They were all pulling in sync. When you're on a rower like this in a team situation, Jamie, do you just kind of look at the person next to you and say like, all right, let's stay in rhythm here. Maybe it'll help get me through.
It's nice to stick together, to have someone alongside you. And especially knowing that you don't have to go faster than you need to, knowing you're going to get through these squats. If you have to wait for your teammates anyways, you can slow that down just a little bit.
I'm disappointed after the World Cup, though, that we don't have all the Norwegians doing it. Somebody get Holland to drum.
That's right.
All right, back to the worm squats. 30 more to go with Whip leading the way, trying to close the gap. It is a squat clean right into the first rep. Oh, they are moving.
You see Mayhem take just a second to collect themselves, compose themselves, because it aerobic, like on your lungs, that is a lot coming off that rower, and especially into that third round. So taking just a second to collect yourselves before you pick that up and start those squats.
And Denise Thomas, the head judge, coming over, making sure there's full extension at the top for CrossFit Whip. Thumbs up from Sam Demeester. Zoe Demeester with the go call. Final 10 reps for Whip. Don't blink, you might miss it. Whip trying to overtake Mayhem. Angela DeChico and crew. They hit it out of the park here in event number 5. And Mayhem comes in behind them. Those will be teams 1 and 2 on the leaderboard tomorrow. Sodra Vatern showing out for Europe here. They've actually been the best European team today.
Very impressive.
Oslo, middle of your screen in the green. Here's Reykjavik. They're going to finish. Hilariously enough, owned by Björkvin Karl Gudmundsson, who is competing on the Oslo team with the silver hair, middle of your screen. They're the defending champions, and they're going to have some climbing to do. Home front. They won the last event yesterday, the first event today, trying to make themselves part of the conversation. Oslo done. Rhino is still out there. I stand corrected. Rhino is in. Asker, Kiamaya, and Fort Vancouver are the 3 teams still out there. And quite literally a push across. You do have to touch the button. And CrossFit Asker Krieger does get in ahead of the cap with Ricky Kivag tapping stop. Whip though, 9:29. The record books will say it's their first event win. We all know that's a team to be reckoned with.
We started out this repeat from 2017 on the rowers. All men had that 40 cal row, the women had the 30. Pretty even filled from the start, but it was Mayhem and Whip that were head to head in those first round of worm squats. You see Whip take a little bit of a lead. They get back to their rowers. kind of hanging out waiting for the men. The women come off first of this. They're waiting to go to the next set of 30 squats. Whip is going to squat clean that first one to get straight into those squats. They're moving at an unbelievable pace. Sodravatern had a great push and gave them a run for their money, but in the end, it was CrossFit Whip that was able to hang on, get those squats done, and they are the winners of this event.
They said they came here to do nothing but win. And win event 5 they do. CrossFit Whip 9:29. They hit it out of the park. Mayhem was your overall leader coming in. 9:41. And then Sodravatern in third. Homefront. I'm curious to see what winds up happening to the overall leaderboard. They were in fourth once we came inside the SAP Center following 5K the hard way this morning. So much more to come from the SAP Center today, though. The teams are done. They can go rest and refuel and recover, but the individuals are on the clock until about 9 o'clock local time. If you're Eastern, you got a full night of CrossFit ahead. For Jamie Hagia and the rest of our crew, my name is Joel Gadet. Stay with us here. It's the Air National Guard 2026 CrossFit Games.
Fit is a 501c3 nonprofit that partners veterans with CrossFit affiliates, and we pay full price for their gym memberships to help with their transition out of the military and live a healthier way of life. ValorFit's based off my personal story. We trained up for Iraq, deployed to Iraq. When I got home from Iraq, I had no goals, no aspirations. I got addicted to pain pills and alcohol, and for the next 10 years, became a drug-addicted alcoholic. And so I attempted by overdose. And thankfully it didn't work. My wife gave me an ultimatum and said, it's this or I'm leaving. And this was CrossFit. And so I went into the gym, and the gym owner took me under his wing and taught me some one-on-ones and taught me CrossFit. And then he partnered me with another person, and they took class with me. So ValorFit was started off of my personal story. We started in 2018, and it's really awesome.
ValorFit and CrossFit align really closely. ValorFit is about getting people into communities to keep them coming back. I don't know what it's like to come back from being overseas and being able to provide, again, not only a way for people to come in and work out and improve their health and wellness, but provide a social circle that will help them continue to come back. Being able to give, again, such a small thing for this massive thing that veterans are giving us is a huge asset to your gym.
Before we get to today's individual competition, joining me right now is a very special guest, Troy Peterson, the CEO, founder of ValorFit. Now, for Troy, people unfamiliar with ValorFit, what exactly is the program?
ValorFit is a nonprofit, and we partner struggling veterans with CrossFit affiliates. We pay full price to the affiliate for their memberships, and then we hold them accountable, and they got to go to class at minimum 3 days a week. And outside of that, it's, hey, things are great, I appreciate it, cool, what's next? Educational resources, VA benefits, and we walk with them through that.
Why do you think CrossFit is uniquely positioned to help veterans coming back from overseas if they're struggling?
CrossFit saved my life, so this is based off my personal story. I returned home from Iraq, and everything was great until it wasn't. I got addicted to drugs and alcohol, and things were terrible for me through my own choices for almost 10 years. I woke up from an overdose. I tried to leave this world. I thought my wife was 3 months pregnant. I had a 3-year-old. I thought life would be better without me in it. And thankfully I was wrong. And I woke up, and my wife gave me an ultimatum and said, it's CrossFit or I'm out. And so thankfully I chose CrossFit. And The owner of the gym, Reggie Hoig, who competes at these things, is awesome, and he taught me CrossFit, and then he took my first group class with me, and then he cut me from his leash, and I met the community, and now I'm an affiliate owner in Central Iowa, and it's the positivity, and thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story, Troy. It really is incredible, and CrossFit is making a donation of $50,000 to Valor Fit. And there's an opportunity for everyone here and watching at home to make a contribution to Valor Fit as well. Besides monetary giving, how can people support Valor Fit?
If you're in an affiliate and you know somebody, everyone knows a veteran who is struggling. I see all the applications. Every veteran goes through a background check. It comes to me. Tell people about it. You can buy our apparel and all those things, but how you would want to be treated inside of a CrossFit affiliate is what we ask. Organically, good people do good things in these affiliates. And so knowing what our program does and standing up for it and getting everybody on the same page, people know what they get out of CrossFit. And we want to provide that same opportunity for people who don't think that they have earned it or deserve it. And fighting for your country, in my opinion, and coming home and struggling is not okay. I did that. So just being a good person and extending the olive branch or extending your hand to those people, it changes lives.
Thank you, Troy. Well said. Appreciate it.
break time is over. We're getting back to work here at the SAP Center in San Jose, California, as day number 2 of competition for the individual kicks off at the 2026 CrossFit Games. Thanks for being with us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram, and Mike Arsenault has us covered down on the competition floor. Your overall standings after day 1, the 2024 Fittest Man on Earth, James Sprague, clinging to a 5-point lead over Dallin Pepper. They are the only 2 men above 400 points so far. Justin Medeiros, the former 2-time Fittest Man on Earth, has just a 1-point lead over Jay Crouch, and Ricky Garrard sits in 5th place, only 2 points back of a spot inside the top 3. Chase, individual event 8, climbing snail 26.
A little homage to the 2016 climbing snails, but instead of a soccer field, we are inside SAP Arena, starting with that 100-foot snail push for the men at 400 pounds. 3 legless rope climbs, 30 toes to bar, and 5 rope climbs before we push the snail back, all in that 22-pound rope vest.
Take us through the mission brief presented by Air National Guard.
Hey, listen, we got a little bit extra weight on the body for this one, so be patient with your breaks, especially on the legless rope climbs, and the rope itself will decide your fate. We heard in testing that was the decider, was who's going to win and who's going to fall off the pace.
First of 3 heats for the individual men. And if you know anything about Patrick Vellner, making his 10th appearance at the CrossFit Games, he's in 22nd place overall coming into the day, which for him, not a big deal.
Hey, if you hear the story of the tortoise and the hare, Sean, well, here's the tortoise at the CrossFit Games. This guy can climb up the leaderboard over the next 3 days. We've seen it before. Let's see if we'll see it again.
Opening heat underway. 400 pounds is what that snail weighs. They have to push it 100 feet. They'll get a credit for a rep for every section of the floor that they complete. The leader in the heat, his name will be on the far left on our scoring hat. And the number in the white box will indicate how many repetitions that individual has completed. Lane 3 and lane 10, those are your leaders right now. And that is Ben Fowler and Dylan Hamming.
And Fowler starting to move a bit ahead of Hamming, who started out early, as Nick Matthew, a veteran in the space, should fare well in this event, but we're probably going to see him do a little bit better in a handstand walk event we saw announced last night for these individual athletes.
And once the snail is completely over that yellow line, they will be able to advance to the rope. And now it's 3 legless rope climbs. Ben Fowler, the first man done with that 100-foot push. And remember, they are wearing the 22-pound vest. The weight in that thing weighs 20, but the entirety of it is 22 pounds.
I'll leave it to Rogue. Attention to details. 22 total pounds of weight added to these athletes. Now, the men will do 3 legless rope climbs, and they'll have to touch the metal plate at which the rope is anchored to. Now, part of our mission brief was take your time on the breaks, because you do not want to ever blow up on a legless rope climb, let alone a weighted legless rope climb.
Quinn Robinson in lane 2, judge's hand in the air. He's in the red top, going to the chalk. He has 1 climb left. Now, there is no rule about how they have to get down from the rope.
Well, self-preservation should always be a part of every CrossFit Games athlete in the event they're doing. Is technically, yes, you could drop from the top. However, not recommended for the rest of your weekend if you're doing that.
There is Quinn Robinson, who comes into 28th place overall after the opening 7 events on Wednesday. He's through his 3rd and final legless rope climb. And now to the pull-up bar for 30 toes to bar.
That's not a lot of volume, but it is a lot of intensity. We saw the same thing on Wednesday with the 25 chin over bar pull-ups. Yes, it was 125 pounds, but the hardest part, just like any CrossFit event or CrossFit workout in your affiliate, intensity is the secret sauce. But if you haven't gotten used to something like this, it's going to dose you up pretty good for the second half of this event.
Pat Vellner in lane 5 has moved himself into 2nd place, and this is usually when Pat starts to work his way back up the overall leaderboard.
And the way this event is structured fits very well to Patrick Vellner's skill set. Everybody thinks with his gymnastics background he's great inverted or in pressing. It's actually quite the opposite. Pat Vellner is a fantastic puller. Mitigating the grip fatigue is so important in the middle part of this. Yes, it's only 30, but we do have the weight vest, and they just did 3 weighted legless rope climbs. Even though they get to use their legs on the rope climbs on the way back, the grip fatigue is real, and it's going to add up quick in the second set of rope climbs.
Down in lane number 7, it's Callum Clemens who has taken the lead. He is walking back to the rope now. He has 5 regular rope climbs, meaning he now can use his legs to assist his ascent. Vellner and Robinson working their way towards the rope as well. And here comes Henrik Haapalainen and Dylan Hamming.
Callum Clemens and Henrik Haapalainen both have good grip stamina. We saw Henrik Haapalainen have that in spades at the French qualifier back in 2024 with those weighted dumbbell farmer carries, and that's a big deal when it comes to an event. That grip fatigue will have a massive impact on the success or failure in an event.
Vellner now in the lead as he is through 2 of his 5 rope climbs. At the 48 rep mark is when Vellner will move back to the snail and push it another 100 feet towards the finish line before closing out his event.
This is the part of the event where it's so hard to be patient with your fatigue. Rope climbs is one of those movements that takes so long to get a rep. These athletes have to climb so high, and you just do not want to jump up to the rope just a second or 2 before you should, because you're either going to move slower, gain more fatigue under that time under tension in your grip, or at the worst, you're going to get a no rep and going to have to do it all over again.
Vellner on his final ascent. Makes the touch, and Vellner's going to work his way back to the 400-pound snail in the lead here in the first of 3 heats.
We've seen it every year for the last 9 times he's taken the floor, this being the 10th one. Could this be the start of the climb that Patrick Vellner may make his way up into a top position coming out of today?
Callum Clemens is on to the snail, and Henrik Haapalainen. Pat Vellner continues to lead here. Clemens is going to surrender second place to Henrik Haapalainen if he doesn't pick it up. Haapalainen has now moved past Clemens. Haapalainen on the far right side of your screen.
I tell you what, Haapalainen is in eye shot of Pat Vellner as Vellner's starting to slow just a little bit. Vellner
has got to pick it up because Haapalainen is gaining ground. 3 more men onto the snail, but they're far back of the leaders here.
Haapalainen just looked to his right, and Vellner broke!
Vellner now just stops. Haapalainen is still working. Vellner back to work. This is going to come to a race to the finish line once they stop pushing this thing. Haapalainen has slowed. Vellner's about a half of a snail's width ahead. Pat Vellner with about a foot to go. And Pat Vellner is going to edge out Haapalainen for the heat win. 6:23.29 seconds to Haapalainen, 6:23.98. And Clemens is in. Now down in lane 10, Dylan Hamming closes out his event. Lane 4 is Kalyan Souza. He smashes the buzzer. He's through. Quinn Robinson, who led at the early part of this heat, is in, followed by Ben Fowler. That leaves Spencer Panchik on the floor, along with Benjamin Reyes and Nick Matthew.
Jeez. You see Spencer Panchik trying to get that 400-pound snail the last 15 feet across the finish line. And the hard thing is especially when you stop, that sand starts to settle and it'll roll your snail back about a foot. So not only do you lose some ground, but having to restart that takes such a toll on the athlete.
Saxon Panchik's got to get the snail over that yellow line. So Spencer Panchik, pardon me, is in. And that leaves Reyes on the left side of your screen and Matthew on the right as the only two men working here in heat number 1. 90 seconds to go before we hit the time cap.
See Nick Matthew on the right side is just doing everything he can to push that snail as Reyes is almost across the finish line.
Reyes is in with about a minute to spare. And now we'll see if Nick Matthew can get in inside that 10-minute time cap, and he is done.
That is, yeah.
That's 400 pounds he's pushing down the floor here.
I mean, that is doing anything you can to keep the snail moving, and momentum is such a key part. Now, what I like that Nick Matthew did is that if you're going to have to break, the fact that he put his knee underneath the snail so that it didn't roll back on him.
Well, Matthew looks like he's going to make it inside the 10-minute time cap. And that'll do it.
He's got to get to the buzzer.
Pat Vellner, 6:23.29 seconds in typical California fashion. He just showed up fashionably late.
He showed up fashionably late, but he made it very interesting at the end. But at the very beginning, it was Ben Fowler and Dylan Hamming that were leading the pack after the first 100 feet on the snails. And then Callum Clements made a move when we got to the 5 rope climbs on the second half, making our way back to the snail. Then Vellner had a substantial lead on the 2 guys chasing him. One of those guys was Henrik Haapalainen all the way up in lane number 9. Vellner breaks and nearly opens the door wide open for Henrik Haapalainen, but Haapalainen, you can see, just doing everything he can to get across the finish line. But Pat Vellner starts day number 2 in the way that he needs.
A heat win for Pat Vellner, and he will wait and see how good that 6 minutes, 23.29 seconds will be when it's all said and done. But 22nd overall for Pat, looking to move into the top 20 with that performance. Heat 2 of 3 coming up next. Pat Vellner certainly gave these fans something to cheer about in heat at number 1. Now we'll see if his mark will stand as the top time. We are set for the second of 3 heats here in event 8 of 20 at the 2026 CrossFit Games here at the SAP Center in San Jose, California. Climbing snail 26 is the test.
100-foot snail push at 400 pounds, 3 legless rope climbs, 30 toes to bar, 5 regular rope climbs, and then a 100-foot snail push to the finish line, all rocking that 22-pound Rogue vest.
Mission brief. Take us through the keys here.
You saw it in the first part. Be patient with your breaks. Pat Vellner actually broke 2 times in his 30 toes to bar. Beyond that, the rope is going to reign supreme, and it will decide your fate. You climb a little bit too soon and you blow up too early, you will not be finishing first in this event.
10 men on the floor here for this second of 3 heats. And former fittest man on earth, Jeff Adler, one of 4 champions in the field, will be in lane number 6, looking to work his way into that third and final heat. Right now in 11th place overall, he's only 14 points back of Saxon Panjic.
Adler needs to make a move in this particular event. He's been waiting, hasn't really had too many flashes so far in the first 7 events. He needs to come out swinging in the start of this one.
Victor Hoffer, another man looking to punch his way into the top 10.
We got gymnastics. This is a gymnastics savant. We also have a handstand walk later, so capitalize in the events that you can. This is definitely one of them for Victor Hoffer.
Hoffer 15th place overall with 252 points. Heat 2 of 3 is underway. We start with that 100-foot push of that 400-pound snail.
Now you need to get out quick, you need to get out clean, but you do not need to get out so fast that you blow up in the end. And we saw the first 2 guys in the first heat get to the ropes first, but they were not one of the first athletes to finish at the end.
Far left side of your screen is Guy Mayeros. He is barely in the lead over lane 8, Victor Hoffer.
It's just about being steady, focusing on your breathing, keeping your arms locked and almost pushing from your shoulders. It's almost a bit of a handstand walk position when you think about it, or potentially a wall walk. You don't want to be pushing with your chest too much throughout the entirety of the snail push.
Nika Mazarazda is the first man done. No surprises he's able to push that, despite the fact that he is from the country of Georgia, has played American football.
Well, hey, that's a feather in the cap there, but Victor Hoffer's up to the rope first and see what he can do with these legless rope climbs. Again, these athletes all wearing 22 pounds on their body.
Mazarazda is the first man done with his first of 3 legless rope climbs. So at the 13 rep mark, that's the number displayed in the white box to the right of the athletes' names, they will advance to the 30 toes to bar. There is Guy Mayeros.
I was wondering we're going to see the old Pacelli make its debut. Alessandro Pacelli, who debuted that swinging kipping technique back in 2013 legless event in Carson, California.
First time legless rope climbs ever showed up at the CrossFit Games.
See what Guy does is he uses his legs to gain momentum to help raise his hands as high as he can without over pulling with his arms.
Mayeros will be the first man to the pull-up bar for the 30 toes to bar. Mazarazde is done as well with his legless rope climbs.
A lot of times in programming in certain events, Dave Castro will put in little traps here and there. It could be the buy-in of a 1,000-meter row, but these 30 toes to bar is one of those traps for these kind of athletes who can do upwards to 30 to 60 unbroken toes to bar. It doesn't seem like much. It might seem like a place where I can gain my position on the field relative to my competitors, but Guy, this is his second break in 30 toes to bar. We saw Pat Vellner do the same exact thing to conserve his grip and his energy going into the 5 rope climbs at the end.
At the 43 rep mark, Guy and the fellow competitors will be done with those 30 toes to bar. On the right side of your screen, that's Victor Hoffer in the dark blue shorts, and Nika Mazarazde is on the far right side of your screen. Bailey Martin starting to work his way up as well here.
It's like Guy's doing sets of 5 or 6. And keep in mind, they're wearing that 22-pound weight vest, and it just changes the way your body position is because it compresses the spine a little bit, so you can't get as much flexion as you normally would get on the backswing of a toes to bar.
Guy Mayeros is now taking over the top spot. Mazarazde is done as well with his toes to bar, so the two of them with 5 regular rope climbs here, meaning they can use their feet to assist in their ascent. Time to beat is in the upper left-hand part of your screen. Guy getting hung up a little bit. 6:23.29 seconds belongs to Pat Vellner, and the second fastest time was only 0.7 of a second slower than that.
As Pat's time, the time check for him after these 5 rope climbs is 4 minutes and 58 seconds as Guy is having a lot of trouble here on the rope climb.
There's no rule about how you get down. They do have those crash pads underneath the ropes to keep the athletes safe. Mayeros is still your leader, but Mazarazde, now Victor Hoffer, as well as Jeff Adler creeping up. Adler is right in the middle of your screen on the box on the right. He's in the all blue, just chalking his hands. Oh.
Guy is starting to get really close to absolute failure on the rope climbs. Now for him, as he has such a great foot lock, what he's able to do is to shake his arms out and use as little of his grip as possible to give himself a little bit of a break. That's actually his best climb he's done in the last 3.
Annual one remaining.
Annual Akai next to him is still on his legless rope climbs. Annual Akai next to Guy Mayeros in the green is blowing up early in this event.
But we talked about how tough it is to do this with a weight vest, how that just changes.
It's tough to do without a weight
sure,
vest.
But at the angle in which you have to hold your body, it really can be a bit disorienting if you've never done it. Now Guy Mayeros is back onto the snail.
Now here's the thing, he's moving it way faster than Pat Vellner did, but he's almost 20 seconds behind him where Pat Vellner was after the rope climb. So keep in mind, Pat Vellner did break once during that snail push.
And now Guy is going to break.
And it's one of those, it's so tough, Sean. We see this with sleds, we see this with the snail, is that you just got to keep that momentum going.
Here comes Jeff Adler, who has moved himself solidly into second place. Mazarazde is done. He's moving to the snail, as is Bailey Martin in lane 7. But it's Guy Mayeros who continues to lead by a wide margin here in heat number 2.
He's still got a chance. He's got 23 seconds to get there.
And Mayeros is just trying to put a shoulder in this thing, move it however he can. It looks like Guy has a really good chance of beating Pat Vellner's time. And Mayeros is over, and Guy's got to get himself across the finish line. Whoa! 6:22.52 seconds is going to be enough to set the new top time. So Pat Vellner now slides into second place in the event with 1 heat remaining. Jeff Adler in the middle of your screen is your leader on the floor.
Oh, Adler again. It's so hard to keep that momentum. Another hard thing about this too, Sean, is you can't see how far you've gone. You see Nika trying to look over the snail. How close am I?
Mazarazde has pulled into a tie with Adler. The two of them look like they're going to get finished at exactly the same time. Adler done just ahead of Mazarazde, and it's going to be Adler making the touch first.
There's the problem.
Mazarazde did.
He crossed the finish line, but he didn't touch the button, and that is part of the deal here. The clock stops when you touch the pad. He's so used to seeing people run on top of the platform. When that stops the clock, it stops when you touch the button at the finish line. He just lost 2 seconds there. Ty Jenkins.
Ty had a really good day 1. Great performance in that swim event at the Morgan Hill Outdoor Sports Complex on Wednesday. He is the leader on the floor right now as Mayeros, Akai, Jenkins, Austin Hatfield had finished. Akai is still on the floor on his toes to bar, as Ty Jenkins is going to take a seat after finishing up. And Austin Hatfield in lane 4 is in. And now we'll wait and see.
So we got Tudor Magda on his final climbs, man, and Akai on the left. It took him almost almost 7 minutes to get through the legless rope climbs, and that is exactly what we said at the top of the event, is that you have to take big breaks in order to conserve your grip and your upper body pulling. Once you get a no rep on those legs, especially in the beginning, it spells disaster for the rest of your event.
Tudor Magda is on to the 400-pound snail, has to push that 100 feet, has about 1 minute and 10 seconds to get himself across the finish line. Akai is going to get capped. He's the man in the background on the rope climbs. But it's Guimaeros who sets the new time to beat, but not by much, edging out Pat Vellner by a second. .45 seconds left to go for Magda, making his 3rd individual appearance here at the CrossFit Games. Finished 10th last year in Albany. .20 seconds for Magda. And Tudor is going to get time capped along with Annual Akai. 8 of the 10 men in this second of 3 heats are able to finish the event. And no one does it more quickly than Guimaeros.
I'll say Guimaeros might be one of the few athletes that could win the first 100 feet of the snail push and win the whole event altogether for this heat. We saw him be very efficient on the legless rope climbs and then very meticulous on the toes to bar, taking quick sets, quick breaks, sets of 5 all the way out to try to save that grip for the second half of this event. And once he got to the rope climbs, you can see him shaking his arms out, locking his feet in. He pushed himself into the red about as close as you could get to failure, and then did everything he possibly could to squeeze inside that time to beat of 6:23. But when you got a crowd like this behind you, it's easy to try to squeeze out seconds when you need it.
Guimaeros, your new event leader, 6:22.52 seconds. Jeff Adler will take second place in the heat, followed by Niga Mazerazdi and Bailey Martin, rounding out the top 4. Overall leaders, after 7 events, ready to take the floor as the 3rd and final heat is getting set. We mentioned on Wednesday when we first started this thing how wide open the men's field is, and it's because we have 4 former champions in the field for the first time in Games history.
4 recent champs. This isn't someone who won 5-10 years ago and now he's still hanging around. These are your most recent Games champions, all going head to head, and look how tight it is at the top of the leaderboard. Your 2024 champ with a 5-point lead out of Dallin Pepper. Justin Medeiros, Jay Crouch, Ricky Garrard, all separated by 2 points. It's only day 2, and we've got a hell of a show here for the men's side.
And for more on James Sprague, let's bring in the 3rd member of our broadcast team, Mike Arsenault.
Thank you very much, Sean. This year at the CrossFit Games, we have a very unique opportunity to provide some granular data insights, courtesy of work wearable technology. So James Sprague, currently the leader after day 1 of the competition. Let's take a look at some of his stats from day 1. So in event number 1, his total time was 7 minutes and 34 seconds. So his second per rep was significantly faster than the field average, 1.1 compared to 1.3. The total rest time for event number 1 for James Sprague was 1 minute and 24 seconds, 25 seconds less rest than the rest of the field. So that's from a metabolic conditioning perspective. Event number 5, of course, the max deadlift. He lifted 590 pounds, which was a PR. But if you look at the relative strength, the work to body mass ratio for James Sprague in event number 5, it was 16.75, which matched the top mark in event number 5. So the edge that James Sprague saw on event number 1, cycle speed, rest control, and relative strength, 3 qualities that will serve him well over the remaining 3 days of competition.
Thank you, Mike. James Sprague wearing the overall leader's jersey. I'm going to have to ask Mike to not use the word granular again, because Chase and I had to look that up.
Yeah, anything above 3 syllables, I'm out completely. Here's a fun fact, Sean. Other than standing on top of the podium in 2024, this is actually the first time James Sprague has ever worn the white leader jersey in competition.
10 men will be trying to chase down Guy Maieros' top time in climbing snail.
Hey, we got a lot of work in a short amount of time. 100-foot snail push at 400 pounds, 3 legless rope climbs, 30 toes to bar in the middle. We work our way back to 5 regular rope climbs, getting you to use your feet, and a final 100 snail push to the finish line, all wearing that 22-pound vest. And do not count out how important that is.
Mission Brief, presented by Air National Guard.
We've seen people do it well. We've seen do it poorly. Be patient with your brakes, and that rope will decide the fate of who wins and who gets stuck underneath Zeus.
Final heat underway. Top time belongs to Guy Maieros, 6:22.52 seconds, and there is your overall leader after 7 events on Wednesday, James Sprague. 3 of the 4 former champions in this heat. We already saw Jeff Adler go in heat 2. Medeiros, Sprague, and Jason Hopper here in heat number 3.
You saw 2 different strategies with 2 winners of the heat. Pat Vellner, slower on the snail, faster on the rig and the rope, where Guy Maieros was faster on the snail and slower on the rig and the rope.
Help Valor Fit transform veterans' lives through CrossFit and community. Your donation directly supports a veterans membership with a CrossFit affiliate. CrossFit HQ has put in the first $50,000 to get to their goal of a $100,000 donation goal. Scan the QR code and donate today. Moritz Feibig on the right, Jason Hopper on the left, onto their legless rope climbs. 3 of these reps that they need to complete before they move to the pull-up bar for 30 toes to bar.
This is where the rest components of that mission brief comes into play. You do not want to, you would rather hop up 5 seconds slower than you should than 5 seconds sooner than you should on a weighted legless rope climb.
Sprague and Pepper making the touch. Roman Krenikov also on the lead pace. All these men through 2 of their 3 legless rope climbs. Down in lane 1, Saxon Panchik is making his second ascent. Roman Krenikov in lane 9 on your screen now, closing out his legless rope climbs, and he will move to the toes to bar along with Sprague and Hopper.
He's about 3 seconds ahead of the pace set by Guy Maieros, who was doing sets of 5 on the toes to bar in the previous heat.
And there is Roman Krenikov, who has been on the podium 2 times in his CrossFit Games career. It's his 6th career appearance, and there is your defending fittest man on earth, Jason Hopper, looking to get to that 43 rep mark before they move back to the rope. This is the battle for 3rd place. On the left side of your screen is Dallin Pepper. On the right, your current overall leader and the 2024 fittest man on earth, James Sprague.
Hopper opened up with a set of 12. A lot of times when you see sets of 30, a 12, 10, 8 rep scheme is a lot of athletes like to do.
Krenikov is your leader. He is only 4 reps away. Now 1. And Krennikov's done. He's going to move back to the rope along with Jason Hopper. Hopper is on the other end of the floor, and as he got to the rope, he was looking directly at Roman to see what Krennikov was going to do. Krennikov got started on his first of 5 climbs right before Hopper. Now Sprague is onto the rope in 3rd place ahead of Pepper. There goes Dallin Pepper in the blue shorts, chalking up his hands.
Sprague gets 1 climb in. What I'm looking at is the foot clamp on these athletes. Is there any slippage between the shoes? Is they wrapping the rope all the way over the foot, or they're doing that side climb that James Sprague is doing, where there's that little pinch between the ankles? It's a faster cycle rep, but not a good pinch point. Whereas Roman Krennikov, looks how he throws the rope over his foot and then stands on top of it. That is a lockdown foot clamp for rope climbs.
Krennikov with 2 reps remaining before he moves back to the snail. The time to beat in the upper left-hand part of your screen belongs to Guy Maieros.
The time Guy was off the rope was 5 minutes and 11 seconds. That was 13 seconds slower than Pat Fellner was, who had the time to beat just in front of him.
James Sprague with 2 reps remaining as well. And Krennikov is on his final ascent.
Roman tucking his heels underneath his hips. That is just textbook rope climbing from Roman Krennikov.
Krennikov moving his way back to the snail. 100 feet, 400 pounds. Looking to track down Guy Maieros this time. Here comes James Sprague, who has moved ahead of Jason Hopper in 2nd place.
30 seconds ahead of the pace set by Guy Maieros.
And let's not forget the fact that these men are all wearing a 22-pound weight vest while doing all this work. Dallin Pepper and Jason Hopper now to the snail. Tied for 3rd, Ricky Garrard behind them. But it's Roman Krennikov.
He might beat the best time by a minute.
Krennikov looking for his 6th career event win at the CrossFit Games, and he is going to get it. Roman Krennikov conquers climbing snail and picks up 100 points. But James Sprague still has a really good chance of finishing not only 2nd in this heat, but 2nd in the event. 6:22 is now the 2nd best time. No problem for Sprague. And he is in. Dallin Pepper. This will be good enough for 3rd place in the event.
That's great for Sprague. He didn't get the event win, but he kept himself ahead of the guys chasing him.
Now Jason Hopper is across. Ricky Garrard will be the next man to finish. But so far, the top times in this heat are the top times in the event, as Garrard will come in 5th place in the heat and in the event. And former 2-time fittest man on earth, Justin Medeiros, looks to be the next man to finish. And Medeiros is through. 3 men left working: Feibig, Crouch, and Panchik. Also, Colton Mertens on his rope climbs as well. Mertens and Panchik are now on to the snail. 10-minute time cap here, so the 2 of them have plenty of time as you watch Feibig wrap up his 100-foot push. Jay Crouch will be the next man to finish. Crouch had the overall lead at one point on Wednesday. Jay Crouch came in 4th place overall. He was only a point up on Ricky Garrard, so that's going to change because Garrard is already across the finish line. Dallin Pepper is going to widen the gap between himself and 3rd place also. And James Sprague should keep himself on top of the overall standings. Saxon Panchik He is done. And Colton Mertens will be the last man to finish. Still has 2 minutes to go, and Mertens is making pretty good work of that 400-pound snail. Mertens on Wednesday won 2 of the 3 lifts in the CrossFit total, the back squat and the shoulder press, and set a new competition record for the total with 1,370 pounds. And he is in, and event 8 is done. And the 100 points in the victory, 6th of his career, go to Roman Krenikov.
Great start to day number 2 for Roman Krenikov. We talked about it at the top of the show about the 4 men in the field, 4 past champs, but don't forget, Roman Krenikov was 1 foot injury away of being a CrossFit Games champion. And today, he starts off in a championship way, making light work of the legless rope climbs. Jason Hopper trying to keep pace with him, just was not able to do it once they got back to the final 5 rope climbs all the way up. Hopper's cycle rate was just not enough to keep up with Roman Krenikov, because once he got his hands on the snail, that was it. James Sprague did everything he could to keep pace with him, but Roman Krenikov takes the win and starts day 2 off with 100 points.
Event results. Top 5 times all come from that 3rd and final heat. Guy Maieros will wind up at 6, with Pat Vellner getting the top 10 finish that he needed to start moving up the overall standings. Vellner's top time from heat 1, good enough for 7th place overall. Let's send it down to Mike Arsenault, who is with your event winner, Roman Krenikov.
Roman, this is your 6th career CrossFit Games victory, which means you and I have interviewed like this before at least 6 times, but this is the first time that we're doing it completely in English. A dominating performance on this event. You won it by nearly a minute. Why was this such a successful event for you?
I don't want to talk too much. I just want to say thank you guys for supporting me. It's like, yeah, it's very important, special for me, because it doesn't matter what place I have. In competition, you always support me, always cheering for me. It's like helps me a lot to continue. And yeah, thank you. And I want to say thank you for my family to date. And they also support me, my wife, my son. Yeah, it's very special for me. And yeah, see you next workout.
Thank you very much, Roman. 100 points here on event number 8.
6th event win for Roman Krenikov. We're just getting started here at the SAP Center in San Jose. The men are done with event 8. The women are coming up next, so stay with us as our coverage continues at the 2026 CrossFit Games. Second day of competition continues here on a beautiful Friday in San Jose, California. We are live inside the Shark Tank, aka the SAP Center, as we continue the 2026 CrossFit Games. Thanks for being here, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland with Chase Ingram. And Bella Martin is down on the competition floor. Overall standings after 7 events, 13 more events to go, but Amy Kringle has a 38-point lead on Lucy Campbell for the top spot on the overall leaderboard. Kringle with 3 event wins on Wednesday. Maddie Sturt, the only other athlete above 400 points, she sits in 3rd. Individual event 8, climbing snail 26.
Now the women are going to be using the same weight as the men on the snail, 400 pounds, pushing it 60 feet across the competition floor. 2 legless rope climbs, 30 toes to bar, 4 regular rope climbs, and that 60-foot snail push to the finish line, all rocking that 16-pound rope vest.
Mission brief for event 8 is.
Hey, we saw it for the men. It's going to double down for the women. You've got to be patient on your breaks, especially on the legless rope climbs. Do not blow up early in this event because the rope will decide your fate. Those who can navigate Zeus will navigate their way to the finish line first.
First of 3 heats for the women, 10 athletes on the competition floor. And Lydia Fish will be working out of lane at number 1, and her cheering section is always very easy to find. And we are underway. 400-pound snail, as Chase mentioned, same weight as the men, but now the distance is only 60 feet. Only, like that's easy.
Right, like I could do this 6 feet across the competition floor.
And there is Lydia Fish, who kind of had a rough go of it on day number 1. She comes into this competition in dead last, 30th place overall. And for more on her, let's bring in Bella Martin.
Sean, Lydia is on the outside looking in on the 2nd day of competition. Not a place that I would have expected her to be this many events into the CrossFit Games. Last year was her rookie season. She came in 13th, and there's, no expectations for a rookie. So getting 13th her first year is incredible. She won the North America East semifinal, which historically is one of the strongest semifinals across the world. So seeing her in 30th place it's pretty surprising. She was a little bit injured and beaten up after day 1. It was 7 events, but I caught up with her. I asked her how she was feeling, and she said, this is just part of sport. She's going to suck it up, and she's just going to keep going.
Lydia Fish done with her initial snail push. Rachel Noel in lane 2 is your leader, got to the rope first. Only 2 legless rope climbs here for the women as opposed to 3 for the men, so we'll cut the rep down by 1.
And you see Lydia Fish on the left side of your screen working her way up the rope. A kip and a hand over hand. That white tape mark is where the women have to touch for this rope climb.
At the 8 rep mark is when the athletes will move on to their 30 toes to bar. There's Abby Domit.
Domit's got to be a bit careful with that thigh pinch. You see athletes try to get away with that when they get under fatigue. Give their grip a little bit of a break as they work their way up the rope.
Noel and Domit onto the toes to bar. Domit on the right side of your screen.
Noel was to the rope first, but she took a big break between rep 1 and rep 2 of the legless rope climbs. And for her, a good strategy. Both her and Dobbit break within the first 6 reps on the toes to bar.
Domit on the right, Noel is on the left. We also saw Holly Tynan and Miley Wade start working on their set of 30 toes to bar. The first of 3 heats here for the women. 8th event of the weekend. We have 20 in total.
It's going to be a long weekend for all these athletes.
Long weekend for them, fun weekend for everybody else watching it. It's been a great competition so far.
A lot of athletes taking very quick breaks. As long as they keep the rest short, taking a quick break is not a bad idea because we talk, it's going to be that rope climb. In testing, we heard about it. Other athletes athletes we've heard about it as well, is that those last set of rope climbs are very tough. And Abby Dummett and Rachel Noel, who are one of the tallest athletes in the field, are leading this heat. And it's going to bode very well once they get to the rope and they can use their legs and their height to their advantage.
4 regular rope climbs now. Abby Dummett on her first of 4 reps, and as Chase mentioned, they just have to touch the white tape, not the actual steel portion of Zeus here. The white tape is where the athletes need to touch on the left side of your screen. That's Rachel Noel. Dummett on the right, making her 4th appearance here at the Games, had her best career finish last year when she took 12th. Noel is a Games rookie.
Games rookie, but she's coached by Adrian Conway, so I can't really think of a more seasoned athlete with a pedigree of success behind you than a guy like Adrian Conway.
Played collegiate soccer at Utah State University, where she was a goaltender. .42 rep mark, that's what they need to get to. The number of reps the leader has completed, or women who are at least on the lead pace, will be displayed in the white box next to the athlete's name at the top of our screen.
Keep in mind it's 4 climbs versus the men who had to do 5. And 1 more for Abby Dummett. Although she can't take too much time before going up for this last climb because she has company.
Annika Greer, Lucy McGonigal, Noel, and Fish all on their final rep. And now Noel is going to be the first woman done and back to that snail. And then at the far end of the floor in lane 9, that's Lucy McGonigal, who has moved ahead of Dummett for 2nd place. Lydia Fish now on to the snail on the bottom of your screen. There's Noel and McGonigal dead even.
Rachel Noel, one of the tallest women in the field at 5'8". He's going to have to use that weight and that strength, but she's better look over to her left because McGonigal's closing.
And we have a much longer sprint to the finish here that could come into play on these close races.
Noel's got her leader here, about 3 feet ahead of McGonigal. Dummett just broke.
Rachel Noel is done. She'll make the sprint to the finish, and she will pick up the heat win to kick things off here in event 8. 5:55.68 seconds.
Lucy McGonigal snuck it ahead, but in lane 4,
Miley Wade.
Where did she come from?
And Dummett and Fish in a foot race, and you can see Fish limping noticeably out there.
We heard that she sustained a foot injury on Wednesday, and I can't think of a tougher implement to use than this snail because it puts so much stress on the foot and on the ankle. And the fact that she made up so much time on the legless toes to bar in rope climbs to even get her a chance for a top 5 finish in the heat.
Great performance from Lydia Fish. Leads Holly Tynan as your leader on the floor. Annika Greer is also on her snail push. But back on the rope as you watch Tynan come across the finish line. Alexis Raptis completed a rope climb, but had a pretty good spill on the safety mat. As now Annika Greer is done. Leaves Erica Folo, Alexis Raptis, and Hannah Black as the only 3 women left on the floor. 10-minute time cap here.
Hannah Black on the far right side of your screen could still be on her legless climbs.
She is.
And we've seen this before, and this is the tough part. And what we said early on in our mission brief, take the time you need to rest between your reps. A legless rope climb is a challenge in and of itself, let alone with a 16-pound weight vest on.
Well, there's Alexis Raptis, who also had a pretty rough Wednesday. Another woman who may have tweaked her ankle in competition. And you can see her kind of limping a little bit out there as she gets over the finish line. She's got to hit the buzzer.
Got to hit the buzzer.
8:14.02 seconds. Erica Folo is going to have plenty of time. She's only about 6 feet away.
Plenty of time. We got plenty of athletes left. This is just heat 1 of 3. If you want to get a healthy respect of how tough this snail is, this is the shot for you.
Folo is done. And now we will see how far Hannah Black can get with 1:15 seconds left.
This is the game. This is not the game within the game, but this is this understanding of what should you do versus what you want to do. At this point, Hannah Black is going to get last in the event. If climbing up a legless rope climb all the way is going to endanger the rest of her weekend by overstressing her grip, maybe stretching it out, or the arms. We have, like you said, Sean, this is event 8. We have 12 more events after this. Events that Hannah Black can fare very well in down the line. So just make sure that if it's worth climbing, to not change your position on the leaderboard in this particular event.
But here's the thing, everybody in this arena has been in this position. We have all been to that point, whether it's just in class or in a local competition, where you just don't have it, and you're just trying to get as much as you possibly can done.
The challenge here is that how do you mentally bounce back from this?
Right.
Obviously, there's no physical toll that's going to happen when you can't get the climb. You either got it or you don't. But can you stay focused? Can you just shrug it off and get ready for the next event?
Well, Rachel Noel right now with the top time to beat goes sub-6, 5:55.68 seconds.
And she did it in a way that you would want athletes who might struggle on the legless rope climb. So Rachel Noel led the charge at the bottom in lane number 2. First off the snail, first to Zeus. She took a huge break between rep 1 and 2 on the legless rope climbs, and then very short sets and short rest on the toes to bar. McGonigal at the top part of the lane tried to run down Rachel Noel, but Noel just a little bit too much too late in the event, and that allowed her to get across the finish line first.
Rachel Noel, the game's rookie, wins the heat, 5:55.68 seconds. Miley Wade was just about 2 seconds behind Lucy McGonigal for second place. Abby Domet slides in there in fourth place, and Lydia Fish right behind Domet for fifth. 2 heats remain as our coverage continues here from San Jose, California at the 2026 CrossFit Games. Second day of competition continues here at the SAP Center in the heart of the Silicon Valley, San Jose, California. We are on event number 8 of 20 for the individuals. It is climbing snail 26. And you got to do all this while wearing a 16-pound vest.
Yeah, why not, right? 16-pound vest added to this. 60-foot snail push at 400 pounds. 2 legless rope climbs, 30 toes to bar. Back to the rope for 4 regular rope climbs and a 60-foot snail push to the finish line.
Mission Brief presented by Air National Guard.
Be patient, be patient, be patient on your breaks, especially when you get to the rope, because those who can navigate the rope will be successful in this event.
10 women in this second of 3 heats. And it's Danielle Brandon who comes in 13th place overall. You want to talk about someone who had a rough day one, it was her.
Listen, we got a little road rash on the bike event yesterday for Danielle Brandon, but listen, this might be the best thing for her. She thrives in an environment that may be or may not be slightly chaotic. And if anybody can handle a tough day one, Danielle Brandon getting basically run over by the people she fell into on that bike event, but able to get up and led to where the position she is now. But this is a good day for Danielle Brandon. You have an athlete, arguably one of the best athletes in the field, men and women combined. And with the events that we've known so far today, this could be a great day for Danielle Brandon to work her way up into the top 10.
Brandon is the most experienced individual athlete in the field, making her 8th individual appearance at the CrossFit Games. Debuted in 2019. No one really knew her that year. Won an event. Took 10th place overall. She was 1 spot off the podium last year when she took 4th in Albany, New York.
But keep in mind, she also took a 0 in the back squat event and still took 4th. Danielle Brandon has the ability to be a CrossFit Games champion, and it starts right now.
Heat 2 of 3 has begun. Rachel Noel, the CrossFit Games rookie, has the top time right now at 5 minutes, 55.68 seconds, 400 pounds on the snail. Start things off with a 60-foot push.
Danielle Brandon leading early on the second or left side of your screen. Have you seen a couple people go wire to wire? Usually you'll see the first person done with the snail does not finish the event first. We've seen that happen a couple of times here for the men and the women.
Danielle Brandon and Matilda Garnis are the 2 women out front. Brandon about a half a snail's length ahead of Garnis, and Brandon is going to be the first one done. Went to college not far from here at Sacramento State University.
Rachel Noel was done with this portion on the legless at 1 minute and 52 seconds. Danielle's done with her first climb at 1 minute. Noel took almost a 30-second break between her first climb and her second climb, and that paid off big later once she got back to the rig.
You see that 16-pound weight vest that Danielle Brandon is wearing. We talked about this a little bit with the men, but how does that affect how you attack these rope climbs?
I mean, you have to be a bit more conservative in your intensity and a bit more patient, as we said at the top of the show, with your rest in between, because that weight is just going to overstretch your grip significantly more than an average legless rope climb.
Well, Brandon is done first, moving to the toes to bar. Paige Rogers is also done.
Hey, do not sleep on Paige Rogers. She didn't have the best, cleanest day one. She came into the competition with a bit of an ankle injury prior to, so the ranch run was just tough for her. She navigated that well. But Paige Rogers is one of those athletes that has been in the top 10, but also has the potential for podium contention here this weekend.
This is her 3rd individual appearance at the CrossFit Games for Paige Rogers. She's on the left side of your screen. Also had a really good career as a teenage competitor. She was on the podium twice, once as a 14 and 15-year-old, and then finished 3rd as a 16 and 17-year-old in 2019. She's still relatively early in her career. Left side is Saria Meha, who had a good performance in the bike event on Wednesday.
Rachel Noel was done with the toes to bar at 3 minutes and 18 seconds.
The Rogers and Brandon now to their 4 regular rope climbs. So you can use the feet. And it's Paige Rogers who has moved ahead of Brandon.
Rogers looks very comfortable, very smooth, very meticulous on the rope, and that's what you need. You can't race through these because then you start to over pull, not getting a good foot ground. For a regular rope climb, lock the feet in, stand up and reach. You shouldn't be doing too much pulling in this portion of the event. This should all be with the legs.
Time to beat in the upper left-hand part of your screen again belongs to Rachel Noel. Paige Rogers came in 11th place overall. As you look at Surya Meha chalking up her hands. Rogers with 264 points, only 16 points back of Elisa Fuliano for 10th. It's important because top 10 athletes are in that final heat.
And if you know anything about this sport, being in the final heat is such a massive advantage when it comes to game planning for particular events, knowing how 20 athletes already did before it is your turn to go.
Rogers with 1 rep left. Top women on the screen right now. On the left side, it's Surya Meha. On the right, Paige Rogers, who's on her final rope climb, makes the touch, and Danielle Brandon, the long black pants next to her, is in second place. Rogers back to the 400-pound snail, has to push this 60 feet before she can cross the finish line.
She's already 45 seconds ahead of the pace set by Rachel Noel.
And now Brandon is done, and will move to the snail and will try to track down Rogers. But Paige with a really good lead. And now in lanes 3 and 4, it's Meha and Milligan onto the snail. Rogers continuing to work. Milligan, meanwhile, is catching up to Brandon for second place. Rogers just about finished. And Paige Rogers is going to have the new top time heading into the third and final heat. 5:08.73 seconds as Danielle Brandon is about to finish. Brandon is in. And that'll be good enough right now for second place in the event, 5:23.15 seconds. Kyra Milligan is across. Surya Meha is done, and Olivia Kersetter down in lane 9 just finished up. Matilda Garnis working her way towards the finish line. Garnis was on the podium the last time she was at the CrossFit Games, but that was on a team. That was in 2024. Garnis is done and now has to get herself across the finish line. Down in lane 1, Janie Chevery is still working alongside Ella Wilkinson. And in lane 8, still back on the ropes, is Birgers Bjornsdottir. And now Bjornsdottir will try to complete her final snail push. Again, 400 pounds. They got to push it 60 feet.
Not an easy task at all once your arms are blown up between the legless rope climbs, toes to bar, and regular rope climbs.
Chevery is done. Wilkinson on the bottom of your screen. Your leader on the floor, but Bjornsdottir is starting to carve into that. Wilkinson is done. And Bjornsdottir made pretty quick work of that snail. She's just about finished as well. Making her first individual appearance in the CrossFit Games from CrossFit Reykjavik. It wasn't that long ago in the state of California, 2009, when we saw a young woman by the name of Annie Thorisdottir.
Stone's throw away from the SAP Center.
course, Annie Thorstadter inspired a generation of Icelandic women to take up the sport, including the two-time fittest woman on earth, Catherine Davidsdottir. That's Miriam von Rohr, who is on her final set of rope climbs. About 90 seconds away from that time cap.
That's one rope climb left to go. Definitely had to be those first two legless that set her back a bit. You can even look at her grip. It just doesn't have that almost full palm grip you want to see. There's more of a fingertip grip. It's just a telltale sign of grip fatigue.
We'll see how far von Rohr can push that snail. She will get credit for a rep for every section of the floor she completes. It's denoted by that gray line that she just rolled over. So 15 seconds before we hit the time cap. Von Rohr looking like he's going to get halfway through this. Paige Rogers, 5:08.73 seconds.
That is going to be a formidable time coming into this third heat. And a good start to day number 2 for Paige Rogers, but one heat left to go. Started strong in the first 60 feet with that 400-pound snail. She was just a little bit behind Danielle Brandon, who got to the rig first. But once Paige got to the rope, navigated those two legless rope climbs alongside Danielle Brandon, bigger sets on the toes to bar. But then once she got to the 15-foot rope climbs, those last 4 reps, those handprints, and then just never stopped once on her final 60 feet. That kept her ahead of the rest of the field, and we'll see if that can keep her ahead of the next 10, final 10, coming up in heat number 3.
The top 5 times from this heat are now the top 5 times in the event, as Olivia Kerstetter was also able to beat Rachel Noel's top time from heat number 1. Hilda Garnis takes 6th at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. And Miriam von Rohr, the only woman not to complete inside that 10-minute time gap. Started this competition on Wednesday. Maddie Sturt picked up her first career event win. Lucy Campbell, who was on the podium last year, beat everybody in the swim event, including all the men. But Amy Kringle was really the story on the women's side. 3 event wins to put herself on top of the overall leaderboard.
And where those come from? We had a bike win, we had a deadlift win, we had a trail run win. Also a great performance in the hopper, which is why she finds herself on top of the leaderboard by 38 points over Lucy Campbell, who took second, as you said, last year at the 2025 CrossFit Games. But Maddie Sturt hanging tight in third. This is going to be a jam-packed heat.
Let's bring in the third member of our broadcast team. Bella Martin is down there on the competition floor. Bella?
The CrossFit Games is partnering with Work Analytics to provide athletes with opportunity to collect bounties and learn a little bit more about their movement patterns and health metrics. This year, there's a few events that athletes can be wearing the Work metric. And here's what is fun to me. It's not enough anymore to just say an athlete is dominant. We want to know why an athlete is dominant, and the athlete that is currently leading is Amy Kringle. And here's why she stands out. There's 3 reasons. She's got above average Metcon power output above the rest of the field. She rests less, obviously, than the rest of her competition, and her strength relative to her body size is incredibly impressive. She's not the biggest athlete on the floor, but that percentage for strength to her body weight ratio, that's where she's winning here, guys.
Thank you, Bella. Amy Kringle has gotten better every year that she's been in the CrossFit Games. This is her 4th year, 37th, 13th, and then 8th last year.
She has gotten better every year, but what she needs to do is to get better every day of the competition, because Amy Kringle has found herself in top positions in years past in the CrossFit Games. The problem is the longevity through the weekend, and she tends to tail off in the last day or two. The question is, not can Amy Kringle do what she's already done, but can she change what she's done in the last few years and hold on to that jersey the next 3 days of competition?
We are only in event 8 of 20. So still plenty of action that will have a bearing on what happens here. But right now, as you mentioned, Chase, Amy Kringle with a 38-point lead over Lucy Campbell for first place. That's Maddie Sturt, who will be in lane number 7, who rounds out the top 3 right now.
A lot of athletes here with a lot of experience.
Yeah, we mentioned Lucy Campbell. On Wednesday, in that swim event, beat everybody, including the men. It's only the 7th time that has ever happened in CrossFit Games history where a woman has beaten all the individuals in a gender-neutral event.
Well, the thing with Lucy Campbell, too, is that she is a clutch competitor. When she needs to rise to the moment, she has always done that. At the Games, at Wodapalooza, we've seen it at the Rogue Invitational as well. She is the heir apparent of Tia Claire Toomey, who won last year with Lucy taking 2nd.
Maddie Sturt, meanwhile, picked up her first career event win at the CrossFit Games on Wednesday. Finished 6th at the Games last year in Albany, New York. Final heat underway. 5:08.73 seconds, the time to beat. And it bears repeating that these women are doing all of this work with a 16-pound vest strapped to their torsos.
One athlete we didn't mention for this particular event. Snail push, legless climbs, toes to bar, rope climbs, and a snail push. Alex Gazan is in the field and leading the field. She is one of, if not the best upper body puller when it comes to legless rope climbs and regular rope climbs in the field. If anyone is going to take down Paige Rodgers in this event, it's going to be Alex Gazan.
And not shocking that she's good at pushing that thing. She, at one point during her training, bench pressed 270.
Well, not that I needed another reason to stay retired, Sean, but there it is. Look at Alex Gazan. Are you sure that weight vest has 16 pounds in it?
Makes quick work of that first of 2 legless rope climbs. You can help Valor Fit transform veterans' lives through CrossFit and community. Your donation directly supports a veterans membership with a CrossFit affiliate. CrossFit HQ has put in the first $50,000 to get to their goal of $100,000. So scan the QR code and donate today.
As we thought we'd see, Alex Gazan had the fastest split coming off the legless rope climbs by almost 20 seconds. Paige Rodgers was done at 1:36, and we just hit that time on the clock.
30 toes to bar they need to complete. So at the 38 rep mark, that'll be the number displayed to the right of Gazan's name in the white box at the top of your screen, is when she'll move back to the ropes. So Alex Gazan is tearing through this event. Maddie Sturt on the far right of your screen, an overall leader in the red pants and white top. Amy Kringle onto their toes to bar as well.
Look how many reps back. Maddie Sturt almost 10 reps behind Amy Kringle, getting another set. She's 10 reps behind.
You talked to Justin Kotler, who's the longtime coach of Alex Gazan, and he just raves about her, saying that she has absolutely what it takes to stand atop the podium of the CrossFit Games.
And he's never wavered from that, and it's true. Alex Gazan 100% has what it takes to do that. We thought she might do it last year, but that injury before the CrossFit Games took her out of competition. Now she's back, and if you were going to design a workout that is down the middle wheelhouse home run pitch for Alex Gazan, outside of a 1-rep max bench press, this is going to be it.
4 regular rope climbs for Alex Gazan, who is just taking a leisurely walk through the SAP Center here. This doesn't look like this is bothering her at all right now.
It's not because of the field she's competing against here, but Paige Rogers was now 5 seconds behind this pace when she got to the rope climb. So Alex Kazan has to understand that Paige Rogers actually made up all her time in this event on these 4 rope climbs before we get to that final 60-foot snail push.
Alex Kazan, 6th place overall, 325 points. We're trying to work her way into the top 5.
Kazan finishing up her 3rd rope climb at the 3:30 mark. Time in the upper left corner of your screen. Paige Rogers was done with her 4th climb at 4:08. So Kazan has time, but she has to stay diligent on these rope climbs.
Haley Adams, who's in that box on the left side of your screen next to Kazan, is onto her rope climbs. Kringle and Sturt fighting for 2nd place in the heat as Kazan is done and back to that 400-pound snail. And this should be no problem for Alex Kazan. 60 feet between her and a potential event win here.
If the second push is like the first one, she's going to be fine. She has a 10-second lead on Paige Rogers' split time coming into the snail.
Looking for her first career event win at the CrossFit Games. Takes a break.
She has time, but she can't afford to take another one.
Maddie Sturt is in 2nd place on the snail. Far left side of your screen, you can see her. Amy Kringle is on the snail as well. And Emma Lawson is on her final push as Kazan is getting close to wrapping this thing up. Alex Kazan is done. She's going to go sub 5. First career event win at the CrossFit Games and 100 points for Kazan.
Three across the board. Kringle, Sturt, and Lawson. Sturt broke. And Lawson. Watch out for lane 1, though.
Emma Lawson's done. It's going to be a sprint between her and Fuliano. Fuliano's going to get there first. Here comes Kringle, and now Sturt.
Fuliano closed the distance in the final 30 feet. On Sturt, Kringle, and Lawson. She was well behind, but that final half of the push was incredible for Fuliano.
Now Campbell's in. Down to lane 10, Ellie Turner is across. Eileen Wurz is finished. We still have 2 women left working. In lane 4, one of them is Haley Adams, and she's now done. And Ariel Lowen is finished as well. And while Lowen is finishing up, I got to give Kazan credit. She won an event on Wednesday. So 2nd career event win for Alex Kazan. First here at the SAP Center. Won the press. So Amy Kringle had a 38-point cushion coming in. That will probably decrease, but looking like she will remain atop the overall standings. But it was Alex Kazan and it was everybody else.
Yeah, how do you win an event? I don't know. Have the fastest first snail push, fastest 2-legged rope climbs, fastest toes to bar, fastest 4 rope climbs. Alex Kazan absolutely chewed this event up and spit it out. That final snail, she was ahead by so much. She was so fast that she was able to take a break in the middle and still get an event win.
It's not even close. Alex Kazan's 2nd event win of her career, 2nd win here at the 2026 CrossFit Games, and moves closer to a spot inside the top 5. Paige Rogers is going to take 2nd place out of heat number 2. Danielle Brandon, that's a big result for her, finishing in 3rd place. Amy Kringle is going to take 6th. So she will surrender some points to the women following her. But let's send it down to the competition floor where Bella Martin is standing by with Alex Kazan.
Alex, I can tell the DOMs are already starting to set it in your legs. I'll get you going. I want to say firstly, congratulations on your 2nd ever CrossFit Games event win today. I see your family's here. Who are you doing this for this weekend?
Oh, I mean, my family means everything to me, and my brother's here, which is so cool. My husband, my mom, my aunt, uncle, but just doing it for the people in my corner. It's awesome.
Another person in your corner has been your longtime coach, Justin Kotler, who says nothing but incredible things about you. He believes that you have champion potential, which is a heavy thing to say here. Do you believe that you have the champion potential?
Oh, I feel bad. He's part of the family category too, so he's included in that, but he's believed in me since day one. It's taken me a while to catch up, but I'll say this and die on this hill, no one cares more than him, and it's gotten me to where I am now.
Alex, congratulations. I'll head you out. Good job.
Alex Kazan picks up 100 points in the event win in climbing snail 26. We're just getting started here on Friday. Head to games.crossfit.com for all the scores and standings, and stay with us as day 2 continues in San Jose.
How long are you going to listen to a society that tells you that there's an easy way? Listen to me, there is no quick fix. They're telling us it's a pill, it's an injection, it's this, it's that. No, it's hard work. Your future health is based on the decision you make today. You don't have to be the quickest, the strongest. You just need to take charge. Yes, optimal health can be a reality, yes. It's yours, but you gotta get up and you gotta go get it. It's yours, but you gotta put in the work. It's yours, but you gotta grind. All it takes is you making a decision right now, because practice makes permanent.
I was looking for my tribe. I didn't know where it was at. And then I joined CrossFit. And the rest of my life is different.
When I think of CrossFit, I think of Henry. And when we opened these doors, that's the person that I wanted to serve.
I suffered really bad with my mental health. For 2 years, I actually tried to commit suicide twice. I had nothing to get out for, I was a forgotten about kind of thing and just left at home, and that's when it all got really bad.
I don't say this lightly, but I think CrossFit really saved his life, as it did mine too. I was struggling with depression and obesity, and he was struggling with alcoholism, and CrossFit pulled us out of some dark places.
I have not been able to tie my shoes since 2006. I came here and saw what was going on. I was scared, but I took the challenge. I can tie my shoes now.
Step out onto the floor, I'm just overwhelmed with gratitude that the sport, that the affiliate, that the community has allowed me to touch so many lives, and for so many people's lives to have touched mine.
I've seen people change their lives. I've seen people lose 50 kgs, relationships be created, babies being born.
I would be miserable if I wasn't helping. I know what fulfillment this brings me, and if I wasn't doing this, I would not be happy.
CrossFit is leading from the front in terms of training and health and fitness.
I told him I have some bad knees, and he looked at me and said, you stick around here long enough and you probably won't need knee replacements, and the man was convinced.
I don't care that I live to 95 if I'm decrepit. I'm more concerned about living with a good quality of life.
When you're 15, 16 years old and you leave home, you kind of feel like there's nothing left. You don't have much family. And whenever I opened up a gym, they gave me the family that I never had.
You're having people in wheelchairs do muscle-ups and get up over curbs, and that's great. But that means they get to be better fathers. They get to be better wives and mothers and friends because they do this.
CrossFit's 100% part of my journey that saved my life.
It makes people better, and everyone around the world is finally grasping that.
CrossFit is cool, but I think it's what it does to us as people. I think that's more important.
It's all about grit.
There is no doubt that this event is going to go down as one of the most memorable in CrossFit Games history.
She is putting in maximal effort here, and you've got to respect it.
And here comes the crowd behind Rebecca Fusela. This is fantastic.